You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Kevin, what many would never have imagined is now happening. Bill Belichick is finalizing a deal to become the next head coach at North Carolina. He now will be affectionately known as Chapel Bill. He is leaving the NFL, where he was victories away from becoming the all-time NFL winningest coach, to go to college, to Chapel Hill, to take on a new challenge where there's NIL money that you know well about. But Bill Belichick is leaving the National Football League. He is entering college football.
Say what? Go away for a day and all hell breaks loose. Not that we didn't foresee this coming. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks? How about thanks for checking us out here on the video platform and the sports radio app as well. Following me on Twitter, X at PShep326, on Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, and as always, call or text the show 727-858-6650. Just an absolute gargantuan type of show lined up for you today here on the Coastal Sports Network. Trevor Harris from QAM is going to join me over at 8 o'clock. At 8:30, Rick Horrow, sports business guru, is going to join me as well. Patrick Gilroy at 9:05, talking a little NBA. And at 9:30, Joe Zagacki, the play-by-play voice for the Miami Hurricanes, going to join me as well. And it looks like from the interview that I saw on ESPN, Cam Ward definitely playing in the game against Iowa State. And I think most of the Canes are going to play as well. Anyway, we'll get into that. We've got baseball news. The Red Sox made a big splash yesterday, finally getting an excellent pitcher in Garrett Crochet. This guy is the real deal. He is an ace. And it's something they finally have made a splash, and it's a start. It's a start here. You know, a few more things to happen, but a tiny bit of faith has been restored. They gave up a lot for him. We allegedly gave up a lot for him for prospects, but that's okay. I don't mind that. And again, college football news and NFL news as well. We got a game tonight in the NFL on Amazon with the Rams at San Francisco. Still going to be really interesting to see what happens with the Philadelphia Eagles this week when they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Link. By the way, Russell Wilson, just so everybody knows, is 6-0 lifetime against Philadelphia, and his record in Philadelphia is 4-0. Very, very interesting. But there is no question the lead story, and it really took me by surprise, despite it being rumblings that started last week. But my God, here we are, and it is unbelievable that Bill Belichick has reached a 5-year deal to coach the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm stunned, to be honest with you. I'm stunned. And Glenn Ordway will back me up on this, and he probably has tweeted this out if he hasn't already, and I'm not sure if he has. The only time Bill Belichick ever talked about not coaching football per se in all the interviews that we did with him, he's a huge lacrosse person, as most people know, and he always talked about maybe he'd coach high school or possibly college lacrosse. His daughter was a star at Holy Cross, and one of his other sons, I think, somebody else played at, he's with Rutgers. But that's the only other sport that he ever talked about coaching, besides football, but never in college. That never, ever came up. And I'm going to play a video in a second from the Pat McAfee show and tell you why this is going. It's all you have to hear is this. It's going to make you run through a wall. And if you're anybody at home with a kid that wants to maybe play in the NFL, this right here is an interesting recruiting tool as well. But before we get to all that, we're going to get to a lot to reaction of Bill Belichick heading to North Carolina in the ACC. The only thing that sucks about it is that Miami does not play North Carolina next year, and Boston College does not play North Carolina next year. That kind of stinks. It's just the way the schedule is. But we say good morning to Angel Martinez. Buenos dias, amigo. In French, il fait froid. It is It's cold outside. The wind, a north wind blows, south wind blows, north wind blowing in Southwest Florida today. It is it's 45 degrees. It feels about 40. A high today here in Fort Myers of 69, 70 degrees, right around there. Which I welcome the cooler temperatures. I think we all welcome the cooler temperatures. I refuse. I have not turned my heat on. I never have, and I never will. It is a nice 71 degrees in my domicile right now. And hopefully, wherever you are around the country and around this great world of ours, listening to the Pete Sheppard Show, we thank you. Hope you're happy and safe and warm wherever you may be in your own way. And we say, buenos dias, amigo, to Angel Martinez in Tampa. Good morning.
Good morning, Pete, and good morning, everyone. Excuse me, pardon me, as I have to clear my throat. New England fans, I guess, should be semi-happy, little semis this morning with one former coach. But hey, UNC just got somebody big. Drama still in Philly, which makes absolutely no sense. But nonetheless, there's still drama, and
let's say it's calmed down now. It's all going to be hunky dory. But you heard me say about Russell Wilson's stats against Philadelphia: 6-0 lifetime against them, 4-0 in Philadelphia. Not that streak can't be broken; it certainly can. But in fact, those little RPI analytics that ESPN throws across the scroll in the morning, they only give Pittsburgh a 39% chance of winning that game, which I think I give them a big chance to cover. And we're going to find out what the Eagles were all about this weekend. Nick Sirianni, everybody said all the right things the last couple of days. And I wasn't on yesterday. Obviously, I had my doctor's appointment, which went very well overall, by the way. I'm proud to say I'll be here for a little while longer, hopefully a lot more longer. But everybody said all the right things yesterday, as I thought would happen. But Angel, it's good to have you back. We got a huge show lined up for you today. And I know you're have you changed your mind at all about the state of the Philadelphia Eagles come Sunday? I feel like you're going to say that Pittsburgh's going to go in and romp them, that this is going to fester like a different type of drama from last year, that it's going to fester. But we'll see. You might be right, or the Eagles might take it, galvanizing them, and they come out and play a kick-ass. No, either way, I don't expect any blowouts in this type of game. I think it's going to be very close down the stretch. But it is going to be interesting to see how much that Brown gets involved in this game.
Well,
and it's always been backed up a little bit, but it is going to be interesting to see how many touches or how many attempts that he gets in this game.
Yeah, this is the one I know it's going to kick me in the high end, because I don't think, and I hope not, the drama won't be on the gridiron on Sunday, but for some reason, the Eagles have a problem beating the Steelers. I don't care if it's in Philly or if it's in Pittsburgh, one of the two. Then you add Russell Wilson. They've had success. Obviously, Pittsburgh's defense is phenomenal. No one can freaking lie about that one. Take it away from them.
So the Eagles are number one.
Yeah. Listen, it's
they
all
are.
Cute.
I mean, they are.
I know they are, but it's all cute because any given Sunday they decide if there's drama, it goes away.
Yeah, but that's just the only drama that we've had all year. Well, besides Sirianni, and let's not forget, you go back to week one. Imagine if Saquon Barkley caught that ball. I mean, as MVP season that he's had, you're looking at, what, 12-1, 11-1. You're still got a chance at the number one seed. Look at the game coming up with Buffalo and Detroit this week. So you'll be a big Bills fan, I'm sure.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be a big Bills fan. Again, Pete, I'm just at that point where I kind of want them to have the number one seed, but at the same time, I want them to travel, because it either way, I mean, it's again, at the link, it means absolutely nothing. We've been taken down at the link as well. So it's just, I'm not sold completely once again with the Sirianni nonsense, because it's nice. It's a 9-game win. And I've gotten harassment from my friends saying, you freaking loser. No, I'm not a dum-dum. I just don't jump on the bandwagon because I see what other people don't.
Well, you might be. It's going to be really interesting. I think the first quarter is going to be interesting with the Eagles to see what they do. And especially if they get the ball first, I think it's going to be really interesting to see two very good defensive teams. Obviously, the Steelers probably knowing in the back of their mind, and Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches in the league, knowing that they're probably going to target A.J. Brown early and often. I think they will. And whether he's doubled or not, and whether Jalen Hurts tries to force him the ball or not, I think is going to be a huge factor. I can't wait to see it. But we'll get into that. We got lots of time to get into that. Well, actually, not a lot. It's basically an hour show today. I got 4 guests coming up. We're going to break everything down on everything. It's good to see that North Carolina got younger with Bill Belichick. He's 72. Mac Brown was 73. So definitely they got younger. I think the other big part of this, too, with Bill Belichick going to North Carolina, Mike Lombardi, his former assistant, former NFL executive. He worked with the Patriots and Bill from 2014 to 2016. He's going to serve as the general manager of the Tar Heels program. I know people are out there, a lot of pros and cons, mostly pros, about Bill Belichick heading to Carolina. Probably a lot of people in the Northeast are glad he's not coming back to the NFL. Part of me is sad. I wanted to see him break Shula's record. Another part of me is proud of Bill admire him because he's not hanging around just for glory stats of trying to beat Don Shula. He doesn't have to get that record. People know he's arguably the greatest coach of all time, or second after Lombardi. So he's right there. And that's something that his ego, he'd rather coach football and maybe set up Steve Belichick along the way, his son, to take over, if he makes it the next 5 years. But really, really interesting. He gets a pretty good contract. For a college football coach, gets a good contract. Remember, his dad was also Steve Belichick, his father, the late, great Steve Belichick. Not only was at Navy, but before that was an assistant for the Tar Heel program back from 1953 to 1955. So he's had that mini connection there as well. So looks like he's going to get paid. Obviously, he's going to get paid pretty well for North Carolina. He's going to get $10 million yearly, so about $50 million when he's there. I do want to play this video right out of the gate, Angel. I had this from the Pat McAfee show the other day, about 3 days ago. But this is, going to play the whole thing. It's not that long. It's about a little less than 2 minutes. But listen to Bill Belichick on the Pat McAfee show. This is, before he officially accepted the head coaching position in North Carolina. But this is what this program is going to be all about.
Let me put this in capital letters. If.
Yeah.
I-F. If I was in a college program, the college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would get the players ready for their career after football, whether that was the end of their college career or at the end of their pro career. But it would be, geared toward, developing the player, time management, discipline, structure, and all that. That would be life skills, regardless of whether they're in the NFL or in somewhere in business. And I feel very confident that I have the contacts in the National Football League to pave the way for those players that would have the ability to have the opportunity to compete in the National Football League. Whether they're good enough or not, I don't know, but they would be ready for it. I don't have any doubt about that. So that would be the first comment that I would make, relative to the structure of the program. It would be an NFL program, but not at the NFL level.
Yeah, which is quite a benefit to have the guy that ran the dynasty.
No doubt.
In the middle of this entire thing. Bill, listening to you lay that out, I just thought of every NFL guy's son. Okay, everybody that's ever been in the NFL that has a son that's in there, like Bill Belichick's offering up a one-way trip to how we're doing life. Yeah, we can go. Any expatriate that has a kid, obviously, over all those years, I assume they're going to be like, hey, need you to give my boy a rat. That's going to be, that's a big part of like college, though. It used to be development,
Yes.
Now it's like a big difference. And if you find the right guys, you can build it. And if you got the resources, you can do it anywhere, especially at a P4 program.
Yeah, absolutely great stuff. And this is why anybody who doubts Bill Belichick, I mean, there are kids around that believe. I'm sure everybody, when you play D1 football, I'm sure there's a lot of aspirations. We know it's like, 1% or less that are going to actually make it. And we get all that. But, man, if you are a 17 or 18-year-old kid trying to decide right now, and you hear that speech about, quote, a pipeline to the NFL, you are going to be excited. I'm going to throw a name out to you not to mention the transfer portal. And people are like, well, is Bill going to go to people's houses and sit and, have coffee and break bread and all these? It's not going to be that way. Maybe sometimes it will be, but not all the time as far as his recruiting. That's why he's got Lombardi there. He's going to have other staff people to handle that. He is a pipeline to the NFL. If you don't think that is going to be a draw for some of these kids to attend there, and watch out for the transfer portal. I'm going to give you a name right now. I'm going to fabricate the rumor, and eventually I will confirm it. I will fabricate it, I will say it, and then I will confirm it when it happens. Do not be surprised if you hear somebody like Arch Manning say, "See you, Texas. Bye-bye. I'm going to play for Bill." And that's just a name of that, somebody of that ilk. I am telling you, he is going to get transfer portal people. Not everybody, because everybody, I mean, there's a lot of competition out there. We know that. But it is going to be a big draw for him. And the way he just outlined what his platform is going to be, that is freaking huge. It really is. And it's going to be really, really interesting. And in fact, getting back into the ACC. And I can't wait for, Feinbaum and all these other idiots out there in the SEC world are poo-pooing it like it's not, of course, if we went to an SEC team, it would be the greatest thing since sliced bread. But I believe he will do well at North Carolina. I believe there are a lot of kids out there that he does not have to sit in their living room. He's just going to have to meet them. I don't care if they come, but Chapel Bill is in full effect right now. And I think between the transfer portal and that speech and that platform he just laid out is going to be a big, big attraction for a lot of kids, especially the better ones that are going to eventually make it to the NFL. What do you think of that speech there, Angel?
I think he's going to build up that program like no other. And it's the one thing I heard part of it yesterday when he talked about the nutrition end of it. Like he once said, and listen, hats off to freaking Bill, because what he did up in New England. But when you're talking about building these kids up to when they get to the NFL, for those who make it to the NFL, I mean, he's basically given them all the tools in the box that they need to be able to go up there to the combine and do well. But I think it's going to be really big for UNC. I think the only question that I would have, and I'm quite sure everybody else, at the end of 5 years, alleged, his son is supposed to take over. That was kind of like one of the things I guess they had mentioned. I don't know if that's going to be the deal or not, but I know for UNC, it's definitely going to be big. I believe in exactly what you're saying, the portal. There's going to be a lot of kids that want to come over and play for him, and why not? Again, you're talking about what, an 8-time Super Bowl champion, if you count the Giants in there as well. So it's going to be humongous.
Yeah, it's going to be. It is. It's going to be. It's going to be fantastic for North Carolina. I think part of me is still disappointed that he's not coming back to the NFL, but part of me is excited for him, and because I think he wants to prove the doubters out there wrong, that because he's his age and what he is, and I think there's too much emphasis about breaking bread at somebody's table. This is not like Rudy. This is not like that. This is not like a lot of. It's going to be different. This college football is nothing more than the AAA, like AAA in baseball. College football is AAA of the NFL. It is basically a pro organization right now with NIL and the transfer portal, and schools can pay. Now it's professional, so it's just a tad lower than the NFL. And I think this is what really has intrigued him. He never would have done this 10 years ago. If it was an exact same 10 years, never would have done it. But with NIL and the transfer portal and his ability, as he said, to create possibly a pipeline to the NFL for many of these guys, I mean, that's an absolute huge draw. I want to scroll right underneath what we just played, another one from the Pat McAfee show, and some of the boys talking about Bill headed. This is just 16 hours ago, yesterday, talking about Bill headed to North Carolina. They seem excited.
AJ, how do you feel about this Bill Belichick move back to UNC happening and everything that he said on our program the other day? How do you feel it actually ends up working out down there?
I mean, I think, Bill he's used to winning. He definitely knows what it takes. But I didn't really take it that serious until Bill came on Monday and kind of laid it out. And it sounded like, okay, this is, I'm sure, what it sounds like he tells them when he is interviewed. And you realize like, yeah, this guy's serious. Like he wants this job and has a whole plan on what he's going to do and how he's going to handle every situation. So hey, it's good for college football, isn't it? I think it's great.
I think so. I think it's good for football as a whole too, especially what he's planning on doing there and how he's planning on raising those boys to men. at UNC. He said a pipeline to the NFL, and also whenever football stops, they're going to act in a certain way, and they're going to learn and everything like that. I think it's understood you're going into a Belichick campus, Belichick football, so he's going to have to get the right recruits in this entire thing. But to your point about not really taking it seriously, I guess we all should have known that he was going to be wildly researched on something that he's going into. Like, I think that's kind of Bill Belichick football. It always has been. I mean, whenever we were doing stuff with him for the draft, the amount of film he watched, the amount of hours he spent in there, everything he did, he would like to know everything about anything he's getting involved in. That is Bill Belichick football. That's why he lived at the office in New England. That's why the hours were what they were. That's why the success was what it was. But I think we all thought it was him trying to utilize it as leverage for an NFL team. We thought this was like a kind of a scream from the town crier saying, and by I don't mean him being the town crier, but just to the world saying, hey, I want to coach again. And I'll go coach in college. I think the other people say he'd coach in high school. He's going to coach again. And I thought it was all an angle to get an NFL team to quicker say, hey, we're interested in bringing you in. Don't do that. But then once he talks to us, it's like, oh, this guy has a full plan on how he's going to run this team. He's only 15 wins away, I think, from the all-time wins record at the NFL. I think we all thought this was not real. Even whenever he was explaining exactly how he would do what he would do, I'm like, there's no way the 400-page term sheet would be matched. Sounds like they got something done. I did not expect this.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. And I also think, and I'm pretty confident speaking this way, he talks about, that's why he spent all the hours in the wing, blah, blah, blah. But not like you think. Not like, Angel, obviously the movie Invincible, fantastic movie about Vince Papale and all that stuff. And Dick Vermeil was one of those guys that would sleep at the blah, blah. Bill wasn't like that. Bill wasn't, he might have had 5-6 hours sleep at home before I headed back. And he used to live semi-close to me back in the day. So it was about a 40-minute commute. He left there. But Bill, I can tell you this, at least for my understanding is he was not one of those guys that slept there, slept on the couch all night and didn't go home. He was as intense and prepared as anybody in the history of the NFL. But, Dick Vermeil took it to a different level, and you saw it in the movie. And he's admitted it. It probably didn't need to do that, go crazy. But it is what it is. Go ahead.
I really like the move. I will say personally, I'm glad he didn't break Don Shula's record. That's just me, just as not a fan of back in the day. But no, listen, I think it's going to be really big for you. And I really want to see, because I'm pretty sure there's got to be a lot of people saying, as you mentioned even earlier, that, he's old, he's not going to be as tough, as he was going to be. I don't think the demeanor that he had would be from New England going to UNC, because obviously it's two different worlds, but the work demeanor is definitely going to be there.
When you go play for him that he is going to prepare you, as he pointed out, technique-wise, nutrition-wise, scheme-wise. You are going to be prepared for the NFL. Whether you're one of the top 5 players on the team, I remember there's 90 kids on a roster, right? 93, I think. 93. So, you're talking, 1%, maybe a little bit less, are actually going to make it to the NFL. But that every single one of those kids that is in that program is going to be prepared, whether they make it to the NFL or not. They are going to be prepared and be in a professional type program. And college sports on the whole, as I just said, is really the AAA of the NFL now. It is. I don't know how anybody can deny that. Who is this? This is Rich Gannon on Sirius XM NFL Network yesterday, talking about Bill going to UNC.
You think about all the Super Bowls that he's won. He's one of the most renowned coaches in NFL history. He has 302 wins, placing him just 16 shy of the all-time record. A lot of people felt like he'd come back for that. I don't know that that's what motivates him. Bruce, when you've done and won as much as he has at the highest level, maybe you're looking for another opportunity, another venture, and a way to impact the game of football at a different level. And I think, he talked about, I listened to the interview. He basically said, we'll go in and we'll run an NFL program, which, these college with the NIL stuff, Bruce, is getting to be more and more like that. Players are getting paid, players are being compensated. There's a whole recruiting process and the transfer portal, all those type of things. I think Bill would put together a great staff. People want to have stability in the coaching profession. That I think he would certainly have that at UNC. They just dismissed the former coach that is a Hall of Famer as well, and Mac Brown. And he had a second stint there. He brought the Tar Heels back to relevance, but was really unable to kind of get them to the next level. And they're maybe hoping that Coach Belichick can be the guy that can turn what has been a traditional basketball school into a football powerhouse as well. We'll see. It'll be very interesting. But, man, I think it'd be pretty cool to see Bill Belichick back on the sidelines coaching in college in the ACC.
Yes, Rich Gannon on Sirius XM NFL Radio. Jonathan Jones, the lead NFL insider for NFL on CBS, he says that the nil at North Carolina will be upwards of $20 million for Belichick's program, the nil money. So there'll be as many as 30 new staffers as well. Massive commitments from Carolina to the new head coach and his program. Think about that. At least $20 million of nil money that, and I bet you it's more than that. The boosters this is going to be crazy. I'll bet you, it wouldn't shock me if it was closer to 30. But $20 million officially for Belichick's program and 30 new staffers. 30. That was all part of the deal. He had a 400-page memo, if you will, or he had a 400-page dossier of what he wanted from North Carolina. And they pretty much conceded to everything on there, just about. 30 new staffers. Those are the ones that are going to be sitting in the living room. Bill will probably be at his house or at the stadium or be in the office, doing Zoom meetings. He's not going to fly all over the country to talk to these kids when he can do it right in this day and age on Zoom. Send one of his staffers out there. They know what he's going to be all about. And I mean, I'm sure just watching him, listening to him via Zoom or however they do it, that's going to be enough. I mean, he's not going to be flying all over the country and breaking bread in some 17-year-old kid's house all the time. Not going to happen.
I think that's the one thing too, Pete, that these young kids that are going to be in college don't realize. And I'm not talking about the athletic side. I'm talking about the kids who work for the athletic departments. This opportunity they're going to have to learn from Bill for the next 5 years will help their resume no matter where they go. I mean, it is such if everybody looks at the big spectrum picture, you could benefit so much from learning from coach, and especially if he hands you an assignment. And I'm pretty sure if you do it better than the capability that you have, he's going to reward you. But I mean, it's going to be so big for UNC. It's going to be exciting.
I think it is. It's exciting and exciting for the ACC as well. It's like I said, the only thing that stinks about it is Miami. Neither Miami nor Boston College play North Carolina next year. It stinks. It really does.
Jerry from Rhode Island just texted in on a text board here, says, just think of the NFL hopeful kids who are going to go there just to be coached up by him.
It's going to be a draw.
Yep.
It absolutely will be a draw. And I'm sure there's a lot of dads with kids, aspiring kids to play not only D1 football, but to go to play in the NFL. It's going to be huge. And I'm telling you, watch out for guys like Archer Manning. I'm just, I'm fabricating a rumor. But I'm just throwing out a name like that. He may say, adios, you can have Quinn Ewers, I'm leaving. I'll go play and start right away for North Carolina and then beat your ass somewhere along the way in the playoff, next year if they should get there. But it's great stuff, absolutely great stuff. I freaking love it. I really do. I like it run a lot more now than when I thought about it last week. Because my buddy Tony Maz from 98.5 The Sports Hub, he mentioned it on his show. I think about last Tuesday or something. He's like a little throwaway line. Like, I'm hearing about Bill Belichick taking the North Carolina job. And I heard it, and I'm like, what? Huh? The only reason I heard is somebody tweeted it out. I go, no, can't be that. We all know he wants to break Schuler's record and blah, blah, blah. And he would never go to college. And the only other sport I ever heard him want to coach was lacrosse. And but, again, Bill marches to the beat of his own drum. No question about it. Before we go to break, I do want to get one other thing in. And the Red Sox acquired left-hander Garrett Crochet from the White Sox yesterday. This guy is the real deal. They give up 4 good prospects, allegedly. Who the hell knows what prospects are going to be? Catcher Kyle Teal, outfielder Brandon Montgomery, infielder Chase Mayroth, and right-hander Wickelman Gonzalez heading to Chicago in exchange for Crochet. And yesterday, on Sirius XM MLB Network, CJ Nikowski talked about the deal.
It's a nice move, a really nice move. Any team that was going to get him was going to be instantly better. I think in the case of the Boston Red Sox, what this means is they have got to contend over these next 2 years. Now, maybe they can get him to fall in love with Boston and keep him around. But this is a huge move because everybody was coming after this guy. everybody was interested in seeing whether or not they lined up in order to try to make this thing happen. And my goodness, does he fit in so incredibly well. Now, they needed some help in this rotation. Now, Nick Pivetta is still out there as one of their free agents, but they needed to get stronger, and they needed to have absolutely top of the rotation type of arms. They got to get Lucas Giolito back in there as well. He had that internal brace mid-March last year. Same thing for Garrett Whitlock. He had his in May, so the reality there is second half, hopefully. But they needed help in the rotation. I don't think they're done, quite honestly. I think that it sounds like, actually it sounds like, but probably should be the possibility of them even getting a little bit stronger in that rotation. So, it's a really nice, huge move for sure. And this tells me they are ready to compete and contend. You don't do this one by itself. You just can't, not with this current state of their pitching.
God, I hope he's correct. I hope you are correct. So what also is amazing is he's only going to make about $3 million this year, and he won't be a free agent until after the 2026 season. So if they're smart, they will lock him up now, because this is one of those guys that you do not let get away. You just don't. He is too good. And you remember that White Sox team last year, how pitiful they were. 19-game losing streak, 20-game losing streaks. And he, at 25 years old, dominant over 146 innings this year, struck out 209, walked only 33. Fastball around 97, big slider, big cutter, lefty. And he is going to be the ace of the Red Sox staff right now. Who else is, if Lucas Giolito comes back, as you just heard, hopefully he'll be back sooner rather than later than Tanner Houck, Brian Bayo, and Cutter Crawford. We'll see. But this hopefully is just the beginning of something awesome for the Red Sox, and they will maybe restore my faith in this organization. They got Chapman now, they got the closer, and they got a front line. They have a Cy Young candidate. I do not say that lightly. They have a Cy Young candidate here with Garrett Crochet. All right, when we come back, more discussion, more stuff about the NFL, more college football stuff. Cam Ward did a great interview on ESPN yesterday as well. He's going to play, and I think a lot of the Canes are going to play. We'll let you hear the whole thing coming up. It's really good stuff. Miami Hurricane quarterback Cam Ward on ESPN yesterday. That's coming up next, and a whole lot more. We continue to get your thoughts about Bill Belichick being the next head coach at North Carolina, the Tar Heels. Here comes the Chapel Bill era. We're talking about it today on a Thursday, December 12th on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, IonTP.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment? You got it. Now back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Let me put this in capital letters. If.
Yeah.
I-F. If. I was in a college program. The college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program. Training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would
Oh, my God. Bill Belichick on the Pat McAfee Show a couple of days ago before officially accepting the job in North Carolina, but that is his platform. Pipeline to the NFL. Good God. Chapel Bill shirts already being made. Such an easy fit. People are going to get so sick of hearing that, Angel. Probably by the end of the week, the Chapel Bill references. But, you know, it fits. It's great. It's great stuff. I'm sure the newspapers are having a ball with it. And everybody else in the media is having a ball. Chapel Bill. And I saw a couple of interviews with some students from down there. They're very excited. They are absolutely very excited. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. I am Pete. I am here in Fort Myers. He is Angel Martinez. He is up in Tampa, wherever you are around this great country of ours and around the world. Hope your Thursday is off to a great start. Again, huge show coming up today, starting at 8 o'clock. Trevor Harris from across the way, right over there, down on Alligator Alley. From WQAM, he will join me. Rick Horrow, a sports business guru, will join me at 8:30 a.m. At 9:05, Patrick Gilroy will join me. Also, NBA insider. Celtics have another game tonight against Detroit. This stupid cup thing, NBA cup thing, is Drew. The semifinals are in Atlanta and who they play? Atlanta, Milwaukee. And then Houston and OKC. Big controversy last night. Golden State feels like they got screwed. And Steve Kerr tried to pretend like it really mattered and all that stuff. But they lost to Houston after blowing a big lead. One thing I do want to say before we get back into NFL and college football stuff, and I want to play, Angel, if we could get ready to scroll down it's under NMD Grant, but Cam Ward's interview on ESPN. Miami Hurricane quarterback who is a finalist for the Heisman Trophy, which will be announced on Saturday at 8 o'clock. So I'm going to play this in a second. Right after we got off the air on Monday, and yesterday was off because of on the air Tuesday with with Kevin McNamara, my college basketball insider. I had yesterday off because of a doctor's appointment. But right after that, the word came down that Brockton, Mass's very own and the number one overall college or high school basketball player in the country, AJ DeBansta, turned on ESPN, and there he is on First Take with his dad and a Red Bull hat on and a gray little sweat jacket on, takes it off and decides he's going to commit to Brigham Young University. So I text Kevin back right away, and I'm like, this kid was the Massachusetts Gatorade Player of the Year. So every state has their Gatorade Player of the Year. It's really at the top of the best of the best. And then I'm wondering, he spent, he left Brockton and went to California for his junior year, I believe, at a prep school out there, and then left there to go to Utah Prep. Now, I'm not speaking out of turn here, but there are a shitload of New England prep basketball schools, some of the tops in the country, and also in New Jersey as well, and New York. I mean, in the Northeast, you are loaded. I mean, with top preparatory basketball schools, some of the best in the country. Why he chose, I said, why would he go from California to Utah State? And his Final Four list of teams were Alabama, BYU, North Carolina, and Kansas. He had a Kansas State interview well, but I guess he didn't like it there. But he chose to go from Brockton to California to Utah Prep. And I'm like, I text Kevin McNamara right after the show, right after I saw that. I'm like, did you see this coming? He's like, nope. So he did some searching, and then I said, Danny Ainge's got to be involved in this some way, shape, or yep. So we find out not only is Danny Ainge involved, but the Mormon Church apparently is involved. And this kid who said on national TV he's going to be a one and done. Again, you could say all that, and he's got the numbers to back it up. This kid's been playing at a high level of basketball since 15, 16, 17 years old. He's been on a lot of top USA basketball teams, the 16 and under team, 17, and those type of things too. he very well, more than likely, is going to be a one and done. He chose BYU because Danny Ainge got him there, along with the Mormon Church, and about $7.1 million. $7.1 million for BYU, the one and done kid, AJ DeBansta, 6'9". Looking more like he's going to be, he plays a point, but going to be more of a 2 or a 3. So shooting guard or small forward. Says he has to work on his 3-point shooting a little bit. But 7.1 million. Thanks, Mormons. Can't have chocolate, can't have caffeine, but we got $7 million for the number one high school recruit in the country.
That is nuts.
And just admitted one and done. So I mean, this is the state of college athletics. It is nothing more. Strictly, and baseball really comes into play here too for D1 baseball, but it's the AAA football, basketball, and baseball, and to a degree hockey as well, for the professional leagues. That's what it is. So get ready for a lot of BYU games on next year. AJ DeBansta, kid out of Brockton, Massachusetts, very good athletic town, mostly known for football over the years, but went to Cal, I think his junior year, some prep school in California, then went to Utah Prep. I'm assuming it's near Provo, where BYU is. And Danny Ainge and the Mormon Church fork up, get about a little over $7 million, close to 7.1, I'm hearing. $7.1 million for him to play at BYU next year. Absolutely outstanding. Oh, man. So I wanted to get that in because that's something that happened as usual right when we get off the show. And I see him on First Take, and I'm like, here he is. I'm like, wow. I had heard a little bit of him. I don't follow these high school ranking stuff. I got enough to do with college and pro. But I did not realize he was the number one recruit, the number one in all of high school sports, because out of Brockton, Mass. I said, I don't remember. I said, I would have known if he stayed in Brockton. He was a Gatorade Player of the Year in Massachusetts. Then he went to Cal either his sophomore year or his junior year, and then transferred to Utah Prep his senior year. And now he's off to BYU. All right. Any thoughts on any of this? And Bill Belichick is the big story, heading to North Carolina along with Mike Lombardi and a big fat $20 million and nil money that he can spread around all over the place, not to mention the people that have the potential, and I'm going to keep saying his name, Arch Manning. I am fabricating the rumor that he will go, or at least consider leaving Texas for North Carolina. That I'm fabricating / speculating, but remember, if and when it does happen, Angel, I get credit.
Sure.
Jerry in Rhode Island says, never followed college football until now. I guess I'm a UNC fan now. Well, first of all, you should be a Hurricane fan. You can be a UNC fan too. And look, I'll be rooting for Bill, and he doesn't have to play Miami next year. So that's good. It stinks that he doesn't have to play Boston College. That would be something. Can you imagine him at the Heights at Alumni Stadium at BC? And we'll have to wait at least 2 more years. Not next year. We'll have to wait till the year after that. All right. What we won't have to wait for, though, is Cam Ward, the Heisman Trophy finalist and best quarterback of the country from the Miami Hurricanes. He had a great interview on ESPN yesterday about everything, and including playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl at the end, coming up a week from Saturday. So here's Cam on ESPN talking about everything.
Trophy presentation. I know it wasn't an easy road to get there, but can you describe what it's going to mean to you to be on that stage on Saturday?
That's going to mean a lot for myself personally, for my family. It's never been a zero-star recruit, started at FCS and make his way all the way to the biggest stage on Miami and, be invited to the Heisman ceremony. So, I'm excited for opportunity. My teammates, they put me in that position. So, I'm just ready to get it going.
If you were going to win on Saturday, what would that mean to you? How would you accept that trophy?
I think it mean, more to my parents than what it mean to me. Just the sacrifice that they did for me financially and, physically coming to all my football games. My family who's been there to support me. So, it'll be a huge accomplishment for the whole family, the community in Miami, myself personally. But I'm just seeing, what the voters talking about. So I'm gonna go watch that tape.
I love that. It truly takes a village. Look, your journey took you from Incarnate Word, as you mentioned, to Washington State, to Miami. It's a lot of places, a lot of miles. How did every stop help you become the player that you are now?
Every stop helped me grow as a person, just mentally, physically, just communication wise, from, being a 17, 18-year-old kid at Incarnate Word to, ready to play on a Power 5 stage. Washington State giving me opportunity to show my skills. I got a chance to meet some great teammates in that locker room. And then spending my last year in Miami's been nothing but God. He put me in this position to help lead, a locker room full of, guys I will only know for 1 year. And, what they did for me, for my family, welcoming me in, it's just something that you really, enjoy and cherish, you try to live in the moment.
Look, you almost led the Hurricanes to the college football playoff. How do you look back at this past year and reflect on it?
Well, it's been a blessing. God truly does his wonders. And for, just the city of Miami to welcome me in, Coach Cristobal taking a chance on me, Coach Dawson, giving me the keys to the kingdom in the offense. It's been nothing but the best. The team is just the reason why I'm in this position. And, it's just exciting for myself because, all the hard work is starting to pay off. I'm just excited, to get to New York, represent Miami the right way.
Look, the hard work has been paying off. Miami, though, unfortunately, was left out of that 12-team bracket despite having only 2 losses. I know you know this already, but now you've had some time to really let it sink in. What did you make of the committee's decision to leave your team out?
It's crazy. You got the best quarterback in the country. You got the number 1 offense in the country, the top 5 offenses of all time in college. So, we ain't been stopped all year. So, we have a top 25 defense. At the end of the day, I have no control over that. My teammates have no control over that. They had to do what they had to do. But we got a challenge on us and playing in a good bowl game, going against a good team at Iowa State. We're going to try to end the season off with a win.
We'll get there in a minute. Are you going to watch the college football playoff?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I got a lot of teams that I really do like watching football, the different offenses that they do, different schemes. So I'm going to be tuned in for sure.
Okay. Your Canes, as you mentioned, is going to face off against Iowa State in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. You said you wanted to play in the bowl game. Is that still the plan?
Yeah, plan's still to play the bowl game. The whole team's still here right now. So, we just trying to, prepare for them, relax our body a little bit, and, try to go win our last football game of the year.
Pop-Tarts Bowl. We got to ask. Favorite Pop-Tarts flavor, what is it?
Sundae. I'm a big chocolate guy. I like Sundae.
Sundae Pop-Tarts flavor. I've never had that. I thought you were going to say like brown sugar or s'mores, but I like it. 3 edible mascots in the game. If you win, will you be taking a bite out of one of them?
We're going to see. We're going to see. Oh, no, we got to win the game first.
All right, fair enough. I think that's a good answer. Let's win the game, and then we'll get to the snacks afterward.
As Cam Ward, Heisman Trophy finalist, will be announced on 8 o'clock when Travis Hunter wins it on Saturday night. But good stuff. And it's I love what he said there, Angel. He's there, and so's the whole team, as far as he knows. They're all there. They're all going to play against Iowa State. I love that. I love that. Another reason to watch on December 28th. It's really too bad that they are not playing Alabama at Ray J. Instead, Alabama will play Michigan at Ray J. I wish it were the case. It really stinks. The whole country. You talk about if you can't get into playoff, why not have the 2 teams that got screwed, kind of? And I think both of them should have been in, obviously. But wouldn't that have been something? That would have almost been like a college football playoff game. To have Miami and Alabama play at full strength at Ray J, that would be fun. That would have been a lot of fun. But not going to happen. Instead, Miami will play Iowa State, who got absolutely blown out by Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game. And Michigan beat Ohio State, and they finished 7-5 this year, came on strong at the end. They got a great recruiting class, obviously, and transfer people coming in next season. They're going to be very, very good. And Angel, you are covering one of the bowls this weekend, right? Jackson State and South Carolina State. Oh no, that's not that one. That's one that's in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, the 2 weeks from now, because you figure it is the following Friday. It'll be December 20th, the Cure Bowl. Jacksonville I was from Alabama, and Ohio Bobcats will be part of the Cure Bowl. So yeah, we'll be there, and hopefully we should also be over at the Reliant Quest Bowl coming up in Tampa. So that should be 2, and we're waiting for other ones.
That's the one with Alabama and Michigan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'll be great. That'll be great. Just real quickly, looking at Miami's schedule for next year, their first 4 games are at home. August 30th against Notre Dame, which is going to be freaking great. Then Bethune-Cookman, their little one cream puff of the year, early in the season. Then home against, that's on September 6th. Then home against USF on the 13th. And then home against the Florida Gators on the 20th. All 4 at Hard Rock. And then the date and time after this, we don't know. First 4, Notre Dame, Bethune-Cookman, USF, Florida Gators, all from August 30th to September 20th. Then they travel to Florida State at some point, Louisville, NC State, Stanford. They are at Florida State. They're home against Louisville, NC State, Stanford, Syracuse. They have to travel to Pitt, and they have to travel to SMU next year at Gerald J. Ford Stadium in Dallas, and at Virginia Tech. So date and time to be announced. But it looks like they could end up with their final 3 games on the road at Pitt, at SMU, and at Virginia Tech. Now, looking quickly at North Carolina's schedule before we take another break here, and then Trevor Harris is going to join us. North Carolina's schedule, if you're wondering about that next year, their football schedule, Bill Belichick, first home game will be game number 1, August 30th against TCU at K&M Memorial Stadium at Chapel Hill. Then the Tar Heels are at Charlotte. That is on September 6th. So they start August 30th at home against TCU, away to Charlotte on September 6th, home against FCS team Richmond on the 13th, and then at UCF on September 20th. And then at Cal, then after that, we don't know the dates and times, but at Cal, at NC State, home against Clemson, home against Duke, home against Stanford, home against Virginia, and then at Syracuse and at Wake Forest. So that's what Bill Belichick's schedule looks like for next season. All right, quick break here once again. Trevor Harris from WQAM in Miami is going to join me. We'll get some thoughts about, the buzz going on about the Dolphins and the Hurricanes and Miami stayed alive in a playoff hunt by their squeaking out a win over the Jets, which I thought would happen, but not in that fashion. Maybe hear from Mike McDaniel as well. Who knows? It's a possibility. Coming up next hour. And then at 8:30, Rick Horrow, sports business guru, will join me. 9:05, Patrick Gilroy talks some NBA. And then the voice of the Miami Hurricanes, all the voices for every sport, basically, Joe Zagacki, will join me at 9:30 this morning. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have any body to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show. It's hour number 2 here on a chilly Thursday. Trevor Harris is wound up. He just got out of bed like 5 minutes ago. Thanks for following us here on the Coastal Sports Network, especially on the video platform. Good morning, Trevor. How are you, young man? What's happening from WQAM?
I imagine
it's a little chilly over there, too, this morning. We're almost up to 50 degrees here today with a high of 69. Tad chilly this morning with the wind out of the north.
It is 56 degrees here in Deerfield Beach, Florida. I actually sent this to a text to my parents and my 2 brothers. One lives in New York City and one lives in Boston area. Is this what you call winter in the South Florida?
Yeah.
I had my brother Cole tell me, just shut the bleep up, please. I don't want to hear from you until next summer anyways. So.
Yeah. That's the thing. But the wind today, sitting out having coffee with peanut gallery this morning out in the back, it was the wind was more in the front, but man, it was blustery even for down here. It was fairly blustery, but it's going to be very cool around these parts. Cool meaning not much higher than 75 over the next 3 or 4 days, and then back up in the 80s. But tomorrow should be a little warmer in the morning. But it was 42 degrees this morning. Getting up was pretty. That's chilly with wind.
That's not good enough to keep the windows open all night. I'll say that for sure. So.
I always keep mine open just a little bit more than a crack. If I can. Like tonight, they'll be wide open because it's going to be in the 60s. It'll be great. But
I actually was in the process. I've been up since 7, so I'm currently in the process of opening windows right now because I haven't opened. I want the place aired out because I'm going to be gone for a week and coming up next Friday. So I'm trying.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Texas for the holidays, so I'm getting.
Oh, that's right. For Christmas, that's right.
So 6 a.m. flight. So I want to get this place aired out, make it smell
Dallas.
Nicely. I'm going to Dallas and Lubbock anyway, so
you near any bowl games that week that you can go to sneak out?
So we're going to the Stars New York Ranger game Friday night, actually.
Oh, that'll be good.
So we're doing a little hockey action, as I like to say. So
Tyler Sagan's out for a while. He got banged up last week.
Yeah, he got banged up, but the Rangers look like crap, and I think Peter Laviolette may be on the hot seat already. That may be the second person to get fired from the Rangers.
Yeah, he's an excellent coach too, cousin of my buddy Michelangelo, who comes on this show all the time. But yeah, they're in that whole organization seems to be a mess right now. The Bruins were 8-2, now they're 8-3 after getting destroyed by Winnipeg the other night by a score of 8-1. They'll get back at it tonight. Celtics get back at it tonight, but. The buzz this week, you heard Cam Ward yesterday on ESPN. So that's a good thing. It sounds like they're all going to play.
Which I was hoping for. I was looking at it as like, give Josie a bowl game to call for a win. That's what I'm going by now. Because I'm going to be back in time for this bowl game. I was like, throw me on the bowl game. I'm done working. Because I want to see Cam Ward light it up against Iowa State anyways. That's what I want to see anyways.
Well, Arizona lit them up last week at the conference championship game of the Big 12. So I think it's good. Cam said they're all there. So him, Strep, everybody, they're all going to be in action. It seems that way anyway. I would imagine not everybody's going to be, but I think the core players are going to be there. It's good. I think hopefully more people will take the advice of Deion Sanders, who said, we're not tapping out, we're going to play.
Yeah.
I think that's good. The only thing that kind of stinks, I was talking with Angel about it last week, is that they could have put Miami against Alabama at Ray J, and it would have been almost like a playoff game, assuming all the players from Alabama are going to take Miami's lead and stick around and play. That game would have been just as high. The two teams that were the last two teams not to get in to play each other at Ray J. Instead, all right, Miami against Iowa State, a very good football team, but and then Michigan going to play Alabama at Ray J.
That's a good matchup. It's also good for.
It is. No, it is. But I'm saying, why not put Miami against Alabama? And I mean, isn't that the game that most people would want to see?
I think so.
Bragging rights for who should have got it, almost like a playing game.
They should have put that game at maybe whoever the good Florida Bowl is, like Orlando or Rage. I'm for that. You don't put it in Miami because they get the Orange Bowl and stuff. So
yeah, you put it in Tampa. Or maybe Miami's going to play in Orlando.
Yeah, I'm all down for this. Anyways, I'm down for if the first. You should make changes to this already for the 12th team. The first two teams out, you play each other in a bowl game. Your choice, anyways. You can't do Atlanta though. That's the other choice. It's got to be provisions. No Atlanta bowl game for Alabama.
Yeah, I like the fact that they're going to be they'll be outside in Orlando. So, anywho, yeah. So here we are, still Still, the people that are absolutely just disrespecting the ACC in every way, shape, or form. It's still very aggravating to listen to. It's like these teams shouldn't even belong on the same. And I just wonder if the narrative would have changed, Trevor. I know we talked about this last week. Had Georgia Tech beaten Georgia, they took 8 overtimes for Georgia to win. Yes, they overcame a 17-point deficit.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the narrative would have changed among these SEC snot rags if Georgia Tech had beaten Georgia, as they should have. I mean, Georgia won by the skin of their teeth.
I think it would have changed, and I feel like I'm about to start the ACC chant just to piss all the SEC fans off, see what we could do down here, because it's like, if you're not going to respect us, we're gonna raise hell almost, you know.
And I hate that they've made me feel this way because I totally respect the SEC.
They've lost their respect. They're Huck too to me, anyways.
Yeah, but now that Bill Belichick is coming on board at North Carolina, and man, I don't know if you heard what he said on McAfee's show.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be a pipeline to the NFL. It's going to be a professionally run platform, and I've already started to fabricate the rumor. I don't know if you heard me.
I heard it. I'm actually for this. Honestly, I would like to be on this. I'm on the rumor train with you.
Fabricating the rumor that Arch Manning will leave Texas. And I want to confirm it, hopefully, in the next month or so, that Arch Manning will leave Texas to go play for Bill at North Carolina, because he's going to get some big names here. He's got $20 million reportedly in nil money. He's got 30 staff members, 30, plus Mike Lombardi, who's going to be like the GM of the program. So it's not like Bill. Bill will be doing a lot of recruiting like we're doing right now. This is what it's going to be. He's not going around. He's going to fly to Nebraska to sit down with some kid. If he wants him, he wants him. You know, and just say, hey, this is the way it's going to be. This is what we're going to do. And if you are serious about getting to the NFL, I can help you get there. It's a huge draw, what he said on McAfee show 3 days ago.
I think it's going to be the most entertaining thing for the ACC. I like to say, suck it SEC and suck it Big Ten, honestly. You even thought of this, honestly. I love this already. I know it's North Carolina. It is a basketball school, but it's time to make it a football school. Second of all, I want to know who the staff is, anyways, because I want young people, young minds, because I don't want the slappies of Joe Judge, Bill, and
No. I think you're right.
And the
I think you're onto something.
Rocket scientist guy. We need young people of Bill Belichick. Give him the new offenses, the new defenses. I think he would thrive as a college football head coach, anyways.
I do too. I do too. With the no money in the transfer portal, I mean, college sports is professional sports now. It's just a AAA level, and it's the same way in basketball and baseball, and to a degree hockey as well. It's just the AAA of sports. So this is what it is. He never, ever would have done this 10 years ago. But now with the no money in the transfer portal, this is right up his alley. Oh, yeah. I mean, part of me is disappointed he's not staying in the NFL to break Schuler's record, but the more I think about this, the more excited I'm getting.
Do you think I'm stealing a Josie question here? I was
coming on at 9:30.
So I know. I don't want to steal his credit.
I'll give him credit for it. That make sure I tell him that you're quoting him.
I'm quoting him. Do you think the NFL owners are shutting him out because they don't want Bill Belichick to beat Schuler's record?
Oh no! No, I think that I don't think they're shutting him out at all. I think Jacksonville was going to roll out the red carpet for him. To be honest with you, just one, maybe even the Bears. Yeah. Maybe even Dallas. I mean, and who knows if, God forbid, the Eagles, Angel, cover your ears. If the Eagles collapse like they did last year, oh, that's right. You're an Eagle fan too, Trevor. I forget. We'll get to that. We'll get to them in a second.
I know. I have things I said on the podcast this week too already.
They also, by the way, did you see Mr. Lurie now sold 8% of the team with Tracy McGrady, a couple other guys?
I'm going to tell you this. They're definitely building a new stadium. That's why, because their lease is up in 8 to 9 years. Be 30.
It's built. It seems like the vet was one thing. The vet might have been the worst. Great atmosphere. The worst
I
grew in the NFL.
Going to the vet. I grew up going to the vet in Old Giant Stadium. That was the.
But the vet was like, it was so the surface was so bad. The turf was so bad at that place.
The turf was so bad, and also the new turf was so bad.
I still would see the ball bouncing 8 million feet up in the air, and Baker McBride going, "Please come down, so this guy doesn't get a pop-up single that bounces in front of me into a triple."
The only thing I remember about the turf is when they replaced the old turf, the new turf.
Yep.
Brian Billings' foot couldn't go all the way down because the sliding patches. That's why people forget about that one.
That place was a mess.
I say that place was a mess, but also the bigger mess was Old Giant Stadium too. So I grew up going to Old Eagle Giant games there, so
Yeah.
that's why.
Well, all the AstroTurf stuff was. I remember when way before you were born, Sports Illustrated did an unbelievable piece back in the day on AstroTurf
Mhm.
and the injuries that it caused. And this was like around, I want to say 81, 82, and they would show pictures of guys. Some of them so bad because of the rug burns more than more. I mean, forget about the ankle injury, forget about the nasty stuff that happened. But overall, the majority of the injuries or pain was from like massive rug burns. Guys would wake up in the middle of the night with sheets stuck to their knees or because of the blood and pus. And they would have to get up out of bed with the sheet attached to them because it would so much pain. Go to the shower and water it down to get the sheet off.
That's
It
crazy.
was disgusting how bad it was at the vet, and as you said, at Old Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets played at Shea for a while before they went to Giant Stadium
Yeah,
too.
Giant Stadium turf was also dicey in the 90s anyways. People forget about that anyways. When they changed out the 50-yard logo out every time and people got mad about that. People forget that.
Well, again, Trevor Harris joining us here at WQ from WQAM, and also you have your awesome pod. Tell people about your podcast too.
The Upper Bowl podcast. It's me, myself. I do guest the lines every week. We have it's my buddy AJ from Cincinnati. We talk, and my buddy Duncan Dad. He's been coming on a lot. I have guests on. We had Brendan Tobin on last week. We have a lot of good people on. I always say Pete Sheppard's been on it all the time. We talk sports. We make fun of stuff. And
I've been on your podcast.
Huh? Yeah, you've been on the podcast. Yeah, you were doing the AFC's preview and stuff. We both agreed the Jets are not going to make the playoff that year.
That's awesome.
That is still stone cold lock anyway. So you've been on. We always have a lot of good people on. I think next week we're gonna have Alex Dono on, who's from Locked On Canes. We're gonna talk to the Miami Hurricanes, talk to college football bowls and stuff. What should we expect out of this Pop-Tart bowl anyways? Because we may have to do a power rankings of Pop-Tarts now, just to be funny now. See which one.
Let's do that now. I mean, I don't need a lot of Pop-Tarts anymore because I don't have a lot of sugar and all that stuff. However, back in the day, and it's not like my house was flooded with Pop-Tarts as a kid. Once in a while, my parents would pick some up.
Yeah.
But they were great snacks to take to school too.
Yes.
And, I mean, I always like the blueberry ones.
Okay.
I like strawberry.
Okay.
It's hard to differentiate. I like what Cam said. He liked. I don't think that flavor was out Sunday. I don't think Sunday was out when I was a kid growing up. But it was cinnamon sugar or cinnamon and
brown cinnamon,
blueberry strawberry.
So I was a frosted cherry, frosted strawberry.
Yeah.
The hot fudge sundae one was like around like the mid 2000s. Like
Yeah, I never had that.
That's when I had it. It was like, okay, this is like a dessert almost. The chocolate chip cookie one's all right as well. But the goat one is the cinnamon brown sugar frosted one.
Yeah.
And it's perfect. Then you can throw in this frosted strawberry. Then you can do the frosted cherry at least. Those are the goats.
Yeah.
And the rest is just grab ass pretty much.
Some of them didn't even have frosting on it.
I don't like the I need frosting on it. If it's a non-frosting, I can't do it anyways.
That'd be fun. See, growing up, I mean, my dad was a dentist or oral surgeon for almost 60 years before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't straight. Like, it wasn't like, we didn't have sugar cereal in the house. I just didn't like it. I mean, it wasn't abundant. It wasn't an abundancy. I mean, his favorite snack was Mr. Goodbar. I mean, they were all Mr. Goodbars in the house. But I was a Cheerios and Rice Krispie guy. I really didn't like sugary cereals anymore. It just wasn't my thing. My sister would love Apple Jacks, Fruit Loops, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But to get like Pop-Tarts once in a great while, we get them. They'd bring it home. I'm talking about when parents did the shopping.
Yeah. Or you help out the shopping too, and you just throw it in there and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe once a year we got Hostess cupcakes or Twinkies. Those were never in the house. That was such a special treat back then to get a Hostess cupcake.
Yes.
Or a Yodel.
Or Little Debbie, like the Nutty Bars. Those are my
or the Funny Bones, which I love from Drake's with the peanut butter inside.
Yes.
There's no cake in any of this stuff, by the way. It's all chemicals. Complete chemicals.
That could last for 20 years and you can still see it's still good anyways.
You could.
You can honestly use one of those for batting practice almost anyway. See if
they last forever.
For
Last forever. What's this text online, Angel? Best viewers. Is this like a spam text? Oh, okay.
Sounds like a spam call almost.
Get rid of that.
Real quick, because I know Trevor jumps on and off with us. Number one, Trevor,
Yes.
is that I like the start when the music came on. Two things that I imagine. One was Trevor bringing somebody up to the main stage. That was number one. And then number two is getting everybody fired up. But listen, I know Pete mentioned it briefly. We're Eagles fans.
Yes.
I know there's drama in Philly, but I really hope, because I've been teetering the line with this Sirianni clown, is that this does not bring any friggin' negative winds coming up for the Pittsburgh game.
I'm going to say this. If there's negative winds, I'm throwing myself in the Atlantic Ocean. I am not joking.
Oh, hang on. Let's get into that a little bit more. Okay. Now, you heard my numbers with Russell Wilson, right? Against the Eagles. 6-0 lifetime, 4-0 in Philadelphia. 4-0 in Philadelphia, 6-0 lifetime.
Here's another one for you. The Pittsburgh Steelers have not won in Philadelphia since 1965.
That's amazing.
That is
Russell Wilson, while he was with Seattle, and I can't remember if he Denver, if he
only Seattle. I was at the last two times the Eagles played the Seahawks. I was at that playoff game where Carson Wentz got knocked out, and I was at that game that was supposed to be Sunday Night Football. Got flexed to 1 o'clock on a Sunday. I was at that game as well in 2019 as well.
Okay, but Russell Wilson
can't stand to do it anyway. So.
Yeah. But it is going to be interesting. Everybody said all the right things. Brandon Graham, what he said at the beginning of the week was
ultimate toolbag move by him. Toolbag move by him, by the way.
When he talked about personal, we talked about it was personal. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't realize that A.J. Hurts is godfather to A.J. Brown's kid, or vice versa. I forget. So I don't know what kind of family internal issue. There was no question when you went back and watched that Eagles game last week. He clearly was open. Brown was open several times, and he just did not give him the ball.
Yeah.
For whatever. It looked personal when you go back. Now, have they buried the hatchet? A.J. Brown, Sirianni, Graham, Hurts, they've all said the right things this week. Now, will that translate onto the field? And is it going to be too obvious? I was talking about this. Is it going to be too obvious? The Steelers under great coach Mike Tomlin, knowing that they're probably going to try to target A.J. Brown early and often, particularly in the first quarter. Either Jalen Hurts realizes that and goes to other people who are going to be wide open if they double and really give them the business there, or this thing is going to explode in a bad way for the Eagles. I think we're going to know early on in the first quarter what kind of game this is going to be.
This could end up being the San Francisco game, which I don't want it to be. I really don't. So, because I said just to people last year, I was like, I don't trust this Eagle team versus San Francisco 49ers. And people said, you're crazy. You're like, no, listen to me. Trust me. And I said, like, you're going to lose the next story. Everyone said, like, you're sounding like Angelo right now. I was like, no, really, trust me and stuff. and I was kind of right anyway. So.
Rick, the A.J. Brown issue is now a non-issue, and actually, it never was. Rick, of course it was an issue. Stop it. And the Eagles will not win by double digits. That's going to be a field goal game either way. Get used to the idea. Mike Tomlin doesn't lose by double digits.
No.
And Russell Wilson has never lost to the Eagles. So he's not going to be intimidated by the environment or any of that stuff. This is not the Eagles can't win, but that game to me is going right down to the wire. That is going to be something else. But don't say it wasn't an issue.
No, it is an issue. I feel something's going to happen in this game. Here's the other thing. If they win a division. If Washington loses. So it's like I'm also looking like we put bygones and just win football games.
Hat and T-shirt game, which is big.
Yes.
It means more to these players and coaches than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
People dismiss it like Buffalo. Oh, why they celebrate? Look, I don't care what division or how you do it. Bill Belichick used to adore these type of games. It meant a lot to him, and it meant a lot to the players. I mean, even the 2007 Patriots that clinched it in week 2, all that stuff. I
think that was week 3, by the way.
Rick, the media did not make it an issue. What do you have? I mean, come on, man. Open up your ears. Get the wax out of them. Go back and listen to what the Brandon Graham said. That is not a media made-up issue. That is your defensive end coming out and calling out Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. What part of that don't you understand? That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Do you understand?
Sounds like Dakota from Braintree right now. Rick. It sounds like Dakota right now.
Hey, Trevor, real quick, too. I said to Pete, I would like for the Eagles, if we're making this run to the bowl, that I would like to make the run on the road. I don't want to do it at the link because we've seen things minus 2017. We've seen how things have fallen apart at the link. Your thoughts?
You're not gonna if you really think it's gonna go on the road. Okay. I think the first 2 playoff games will be at the link anyways. I know that if they go to the conference title game, it's gonna be in Detroit, which I kind of intrigued on going, honestly, because I kind of want to see, like, come on, Detroit fans, you're gonna face Philadelphia, but I'm not saying the SB world yet. I need them to win, figure out this media garbage first that they want to fight over each other. I want them to be focused on football, focus on the gleam, was what Marty Schottenheimer says, as I'm quoting the worst playoff head football coach of all time right now. I just want them to focus on the football
not his fault. They were lack of execution, a fumble here, a drive there. He had a lot of bad luck.
Also, the Chiefs teams and the San Diego team. So that's why. I just want them to focus on football. I want them to play meaningful December football and win meaningful December football games. You have Pittsburgh this week. You have Washington next week. You have the Cowboys after that. Then you have the Giants. If I see a free fall, I'm going to go nuts. Anyways, then we're going to be like the 2000s Cowboys almost.
I just can't wait to see the first quarter. I hope Philadelphia gets the ball first. I really do.
I think they're going to do that, and I think they're going to do that just to shove it up everyone's egos and stuff. I just like, ugh. That's why.
Look, this can go 2 ways. It can galvanize this team, and they can, kick ass and prove everybody wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to fall apart at the seams. I really don't. I think the only thing you worry about as an Eagle fan is Jalen Hurts trying too hard to get it to A.J. Brown. That's when others are open. That's the only thing.
That's been known to happen anyways. So, as someone who watches everything, it's just whatever.
Rick says Carolina. Felt like a trap game. I think the Birds will play their best game this week, and if I'm wrong, we'll probably get plus. Look, the Carolina, the way, because I didn't blow them out, Rick. You know me. I don't care about that's not what bothered me. Mm-hmm. Look, Carolina almost beat Kansas City. They almost beat Washington. Carolina's been playing some good football. It's not about the sexiness of wins. Not like some of the Eagles fans. The video I played earlier this week of people F-bomb. They suck and get.
Look, the Kyle Payton video. That was a great video.
You don't win by 20 every week. I don't care who you're playing. There's not a lot of huge big-time blowouts. But it's what happened afterwards, what Brandon Graham said. That's all.
A shout out to Kyle Pagan. That was a great video, by the way. I know the guy.
Fantastic.
Yes. All right. I looked at this. Like, it was a 14-point spread. Like, I'm putting some respect to the Panthers. They're going to cover this game anyways. And this is not like you're playing the Cleveland Browns of the 2000s or something. Like, you got to play with your all anyway. So it's not
all right, man. All the best. Thanks so much. Let's talk. Oh, you're away next week. So
I will be back. I will be here Thursday next week. I will be gone Friday.
We'll talk then.
I'll be back. I'll be back next week. The following week, Christmas, I don't know what we're doing anyways.
Don't worry about it. Trevor Harris from WQAM, producer and host extraordinaire here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. All right, Angel, let's just do all the cool spots. In fact, before you go to them, let me just tell you about let's just do all the cool spots, and then Rick Horrell is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Phil Castanetti Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. You want to get over there to Sports World, 184 Broadway in Saugus. This is the perfect time of year to get there because it's Christmas time. It's holiday season. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. There are so much stuff on there for you guys to get. Not only for stocking stuffers, but for main gifts you want to check out. And head on over to Phil Castanetti Sports World in Saugus, Mass. 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Rick Horrell, Professor, sports business guru, up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish, now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
The accuracy hasn't changed. It's quite literally the same. What's changed is playing the position and how, for me, Tua represents the epitome of accountability and I don't know, security in one's skin.
Okay. Mike McDaniel talking about Tua Tagovailoa. Yes. Welcome back. This is the Pete Sheppard Show. You know I had to get it in. Some of them, Miami's at Houston this week, where I believe they will lose. But we'll talk, maybe discuss that a little bit with Rick Horrow as well, coming up, our sports business guru. Crazy thing happening. Joey Burrow's house gets busted into on Monday night. Very emotional, horrible. And speaking with Miami Dolphins yesterday, Tua Tagovailoa also says he now has an armed security guard.
I have personal security just because my house had gotten broken into, not necessarily my house, but one of my cars. And so it's a little too close for my comfort with my family being in the house. So we got personal security to take care of all of that when we're on the road. We got someone with my wife, got someone also at the house surveying the house. So just to let that be known, they are armed. So I hope if you decide to go to my house, you think twice.
I mean, I have seen some of these professional and celebrity sports homes, right? I mean, they have cameras and security up the ass, it seems. So, it takes I feel horrible what happened to Joey Burrow. That's a terrible situation. But, man, you wonder, it takes a lot of balls to try to break into one of these homes. I mean, I don't know how you get past the security cameras, number one. And a lot of these people have guards on site. That's why you got to be vigilant. If you have all this security, it's so weird. I know how it is over here. People peep down my door, try to get a hold of picture of Luna. But other than that, it is sort of scary what's going on with this kind of stuff. And now you get and more people. There's a lot of people with a lot of guts out there. There's a lot to lose for some of these people. Jail time, or now you're going to get shot. I mean, you're taking your life into your own hands to break into some of these high-profile athletes and celebrities' homes. I think you're nuts. I mean, you're not taking TV, so I guess you're looking for trinkets or trophies or awards. I don't know. You're certainly not going to rob couches. You're not going. What are you going to take? You can't take a TV. So I doubt there's like thousands of dollars hanging around in some of these drawers or cabinets and stuff. Maybe a safe, and how are you going to get that out of the house in time? But that was some scary stuff what happened with Joey Burrow. But yeah, good for Tua. You basically said, you come to my house, you try to break in, you're going to get shot.
I'm wondering though, Pete, Is there someone possibly leaking out these guys as far as their address? Because I know the Detroit thing was a whole different thing. I remember that one because apparently that was a school, one of his kids' schoolmates that gave away their address for Dan Campbell's house. But I'm wondering, is someone leaking out? Because you just can't put in Tua, for example, on Google Maps and then just find it out of nowhere. They're finding it somehow or another. I just think it's too easy.
I'm sorry, Angel. Rick just sent me a text. Says the Angel says send me the link. The one I have is not working.
That's oh my God. All right. Once again, that's what I do. Oh, for the love of God.
Joe's got a situation. He's just going to do it by phone. So let me text you. That's at 9:30.
All right.
I'll text him the number. I want you to finish your thought.
And Brick's going to come on here and say what he wants. This dude. I become like fat as jam.
Are you sending him the same link he already has? Is this,
yeah.
Yes, I don't know.
Unbelievable. Whatever.
I don't know. But go ahead. Finish your thought about as far as addresses go. I mean, it's not like the average Joe Schmo off the street. I mean, I guess if you really have motivation, you could follow somebody home after a home game. I suppose that could work in certain areas. But it takes a lot of guts. I mean, a lot of these guys, they find out from friends of friends of friends. I guess if you're really motivated and want to spend some money to get the information, I guess it can be done. But it takes a lot of balls to go try to break into one of these homes.
It does. To me, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't make any sense on why in the world, why would you want to do it in the first place is my whole thing. But
well, because I think they're going to get, like I said, trinkets or cash or whatever it is, something valuables out of the house. I mean, but you have to, you got to take a chance. You're going to have to know the person's schedule, whether it's an athlete or, a Hollywood type or TV type, whatever. You're going to have to know their schedule. So,
look at that. Look who's here.
And just like that.
After he said that he could not get in with that, okay, I see how it is. That's all right.
Rick Horrow is like Lloyd Braun. He can accomplish and do anything he wants if he puts his mind to it.
Lloyd, yeah, I should have had a compliment if I knew who the hell he is.
Lloyd from Seinfeld, remember? Lloyd Braun. He was Mayor Dinkins' assistant. He was all this fancy guy.
Talk about past. When did Seinfeld end? 9, 12?
Seinfeld will be with us forever.
Yeah, it is. It's with us forever. There's a fan behind you, because I hear people with limited intellect have problems with like bright, lights and signs. You okay with that back there? You all right?
I'm being hypnotized by it. Yes. No, it's fine. Absolutely. No, I don't get distracted by that. Your beautiful lime-colored shirt.
Bark dog. All right. No, I guess you're not going to be hypnotized. How about this? Who do you think? I know it's your agenda. It's my segment. So my first question is, what players show up in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, which is not Miami's problem, it's college football's problem. So Cam, I assume he didn't make an announcement, but I assume he's not playing.
Yeah, he did. He did make an announcement. I just played the whole cut. He was on 4 minutes on ESPN yesterday. He's playing, and he says everybody's playing.
God bless them.
Yep.
See, I'm going to be in Boston. Maybe I'll fly down to Orlando for like a day just to watch it, to celebrate that. That is, you know what that is? That is a testament to Cristobal. It's a testament to Michael Irvin and the guys before. Mm-hmm. And it's also kind of an up yours to the selection committee.
And the only thing that stinks about that game, and look, and I'm glad, and hopefully other people take Deion Sanders' advice and say, we're not tapping out. I'm glad Miami, it looks that way from what Camp said yesterday for 4 minutes and said, we're all here. He said, quote, we're all here. He said, I'm playing, and so that's good. The only thing that stinks, Rick, is it would have been better if they had played Alabama at Ray J instead of Iowa State up in Orlando, because that would have been like a play-in playoff game. How exciting would that have been? Why? I mean, Michigan, Alabama, okay. Assuming Alabama's going to have most of their players play as well. Wouldn't an Alabama-Miami game been awesome at Ray J?
I'll tell you what's as awesome, maybe a little less awesome, I agree, is if Miami beats Iowa State 93-0. Right.
Well, Arizona State almost did that last week.
Well, and Iowa State, they're pretty good, but their typical not as bad as it used to be. Typical Big 12 lumbering, folks. And, the Miami kids ought to run on them for like 900 yards. That's going to make my day. It's not going to make my month but it's going to make my day. It's the first bit of positive good news you've ever given to me.
Well, you can go on my Twitter feed and look at it. The whole 4-minute interview. He was very good. And his favorite Pop-Tart, by the way, is Sunday, which is a newer Pop-Tart.
What is Sunday? What's in it?
Chocolate is chocolate stuff.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Boy, that's healthy. Yeah.
Well, they don't have a vegan Pop-Tart, or they don't have a healthy Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
I was always a blueberry guy myself. I didn't have all these fancy schmancy Pop-Tarts when I was growing up. There's blueberry, strawberry, or plain.
Yeah. Isn't that the kid's going to be number 3 in the draft to the Giants? Are we sure we ought to be advertising that he's eating like multiple Pop-Tarts a day? Although Daniel, I would take a guy with cholesterol through the roof than being stuck with Daniel Jones. By the way, that is amazing that same person in your background who was there 2 weeks ago is standing right there again. What a coincidence.
And I wore my shirt today. We're going to get to this right now.
Oh boy. There you see.
Now, I must say, my buddy who you played golf with, something just blinked. You played golf with Tony Maz and Felger earlier this year. Now, last week, Maz had a little throwaway line that made it to Twitter. Like last Tuesday, he's like, "Hey, I'm hearing about Bill coaching North Carolina." I'm like, "Get out of here." I mean, and all that. And then it started to grow and grow, and obviously it has now come to fruition. Now, all the interviews I've ever done with Glenn and the Big Show and Bill for over 11 years, every week, the only time he ever stressed coaching outside of the NFL was coaching either high school or college lacrosse. Huge lacrosse guy, his daughter and son, but they all played at a very high level. Never, ever, ever did he ever mention getting back into coaching college football. I know his dad was an assistant at North Carolina back in 53 to 55, I believe it was, but this totally threw me off guard. When I heard what he said on McAfee's show 3 days ago, when he said this is going to be a pipeline to the NFL, and reportedly he's going to have, $20 million in nil money to spread around, 30 staff members, plus Mike Lombardi, who I'm sure you know, is going to be like the general manager. I mean, I'm stunned, yet I'm excited for him. And I'm a little disappointed because I wanted him to stay in the NFL, but I'm getting more excited that he's going to be with Carolina this year. The only thing that stinks is they don't play the Hurricanes next year, and they don't play Boston College next year either. But other than that, this is interesting. Don't you think this is unbelievable?
It is unbelievable, but what stinks for me is that he's going to unleash the hounds in the same conference that has both Duke and Miami in it. So, maybe those two are playing for second. It would be interesting to see, because his whole world now is, I know I'm one step ahead of everybody on the field. Now I'm going to be one step ahead of everybody off the field in college sports. And when everybody is talking about take advantage of it, and certain teams have obviously done that, like SMU and the guys that have risen to the top because of the portal, Arizona State. He's going to have, as you just said, a monster staff and a monster pipeline. And if anybody tries to, take him backwards, he'll have all the corporate support in North Carolina to support him. But he'll also have tons of institutional support from the AD on down. And he's going to create his own world. And if people think it's illegal, anything goes in the college football now. Right. And he's going to be the trendsetter.
He never would have done this 10 years ago without NIL and without the transfer portal situation. This is perfect for him. It's a professional setup. We know that college sports right now, it's nothing more than AAA of sports, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, or hockey. The four majors are all pipelines to the respective sports. Professionally, and the one thing people keep saying, and they're going to be wrong about, is like, oh, well, Bill's never going to fly to Florida, or he's never going to fly to Nebraska to beat some 17-year-old kid with his mom and break bread. He didn't have to do that nonsense. He can do just what we're doing right now, have one of his flunkies or lackeys that are 30 staff members go over there, lay the groundwork. He comes on like this via Zoom on the whole, blah, 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 blah. if you're a 17-year-old kid and he says pipeline to the NFL, not that they all make it, it's 1%, Rick, but man, you gotta feel great about sending your kid to this place. And what you just said is a great point, and I'm going to back it up. I've already fabricated the rumor. I'm fabricating the rumor, and I'm hoping to keep it going and then confirm it in about 4 or 5 weeks. I am saying Arch Manning is going to make some noise, leave Texas, and go to North Carolina. How about that?
I don't think that's a rumor at all. I think it's a real possibility. Now is the time where all of these quarterbacks are landing. Duke gets one, and obviously North Carolina's got to do something. And Arch Manning makes a lot of sense, even though there is a whole Manning Passing Academy affinity to Duke. He's not going to Duke, but does he stay away from North Carolina? No, but Belichick, trumps all of those guys. Does where's Brady's role in all of this? And I will tell you something else too. If I'm a 17-year-old and I touch the Belichick luster, the biggest turn on I've got is that Belichick's dating a 17-year-old, so he can relate.
Well, everybody says she's going to be enrolled as a freshman. That's terrible. As you know, Rick, I don't get into people's personal lives. To each his own. They're consenting adults, so whatever it is, call it what you want. As long as it doesn't interfere with his job. But I think it's great for the ACC, considering, and I would love, and I can't wait to, to hear the Feinbaums and others of the world still try to poo-poo and crap all over the ACC. I'm so sick of it. It happened again after the selection committee, kind of screwed Miami and to a degree Alabama. For me, I would have had them both in. I still don't know how Indiana gets to where they are. But nevertheless, the fact that they won't even, these SET snots will not even acknowledge Clemson, SMU, Miami, even Louisville, Duke, and Pittsburgh to a degree. Like there's some throwaway teams, like they couldn't compete. Georgia Tech, who should have beat Georgia in 8 overtimes, lost. I mean, to just dismiss it, like all these other SEC schools are going to just dominate. They're out of their minds. Look at that Georgia-Texas game on Saturday. You don't think Miami puts up 30 plus on them? Now, maybe they give up 25, but you telling me that the Miami Hurricanes would not have put up a bunch of points on either one of those two teams? So overrated. So overrated.
Yeah, but the problem with that is, you and I can have that conversation. At the end of the day, we suck it up until the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Yep.
We focus on Miami killing them with their team intact, which now gives me a good reason to hope. And then we look at the transfer portal and we move on. I was thinking that I can't think of one play, not that it was wrong strategy, it probably was, but I'm not going to say completely. But I can't think of one play that basically turned everything around from a playoff team and seeded third to wait till next year. Then that field goal they kicked at the end, and then Syracuse ran out the clock. But they were riding so high, and then in like a minute and a half, it was over, basically all over.
Well, I think the play you just brought it up was, I think the one real big coaching faux pas he had this year, or that was the game against Syracuse, and not going for the touchdown.
Right.
Understanding, forget analytics and all that stuff. You got to go for the touchdown. You got to look at the flow of the game. You got to go for the touchdown there. Your defense, even though they're ranked 25th in the country, which people don't want to acknowledge, but they are. You weren't stopping anybody that day. Go for the touchdown, and hopefully you make at least one stop to try to get the ball back. Turns out they can't get any stops. They didn't go for it. That penalty was awful. It put them in, first and goal at the 3 to second to third at the 22. I mean, it was terrible. But I still think that's the one faux pas. But we could say that about a lot of teams. If, but, when.
Don't do it.
Do it. But all right, let's. We could talk about who should be in and out, expansion, all that for the next, until hell freezes over. I want to get your thoughts. The Juan Soto situation. I know you wrote about it this week. The Freed situation. The bottom line is, do you foresee somewhere in the next 5 years, baseball is going to have to come up with some sort of salary cap? The next contract is going to be for over $1 billion. We all know that. Can you think it's possible to get a collective bargaining agreement or get the Players Association? Somehow there's got to be some give and take. Otherwise, this league is doomed. You're right down the street from where the Marlins play, right near there. They got no shot in the next millennium to be good. None with the way this system is.
Wait a second. Oh, there it is. I see hell freezing over. I see an iguana dropping from the top of the tree. And
Today it would.
By the way, iguanas and people who don't understand, what happens a lot of times, and that's what a lot of police reports say, I'm not making this up, is they're stunned. They're not killed. So a good Samaritan over 80 in Naples, which is obvious, that's all they are, is they scoop them up, they put them in the car, they want to figure out what to do with them, and then they come back to life in the middle of Tamiami Trail, and they scare the people that drive, get in an accident.
I know.
So
people think you're making that up. You're not, and you hear thumps at times.
Put a leash on it, or remember that he's going to come to life in a little while. Anyway, on Soto stuff, I really absolutely believe that the major problem with baseball is something that is not curable today, because today every one of the big market teams thinks that they can buy one or two players long term and compete. The Phillies with Harper and that gang, the Padres, last year before. Dodgers and Yankees and Mets will always break the curve, and the Cubs will come in close behind. So are there enough teams to go for some kind of a revenue sharing proposal that then will meet the players? I mean, the players have a big issue because salary cap has to be combined with revenue sharing. There is revenue sharing today. You listen to Bob Dupay on my podcast, and we have something on FinTech Reach TV at all the airports and all. It's debuting tomorrow. It's an hour with Bob Dupay, which is great, the former president. And the big issue now, he says that there is, there's basically revenue sharing now with an adjustment tax at the back end. I don't care what you call it. The Rays are, the Marlins are recipients, but not nearly enough. And it gives you incentive to mediocrity. It's like what the Bengals had done for years when there was revenue sharing or equal in the NFL, and they didn't spend any money, and they got the same amount as the rest of the league in football. But you're going to have a fundamental sea change in baseball, and they're not ready for that. They were in the NFL in the 50s, where all the big market teams said the only way we're going to survive is if Green Bay gets the same amount of TV money as the Giants, and that alone, and the Bears, and that alone saved Green Bay. That basically saved the NFL. I don't think we're there in baseball.
No, we're not there, but all the other three majors are there. And I think it's just the league has a horrible time marketing itself. It's terrible. I've said it to you. I've said it to many people. Mike Trout could walk down the street in 99% of cities and towns in America. People wouldn't know who he is. Aaron Judge a little bit different because he looks like Godzilla. So, I mean, you're gonna recognize him like that. Shohei Ohtani. But a lot of the main stars, people don't, and you know what? They don't care. The NFL did another great thing on Monday night with that Simpsons marketing thing. That was fantastic. Major League Baseball needs to do more of that if they want to go after some of the younger generation, don't you think? Not every day, but I mean, you got to do something like that to get some interest, because these young kids just don't give a damn about baseball. They really don't.
No, and more important than that is how we make money. So what you need to do is, because God knows you need it. So what we need to do is you take with that Simpson like crown hat. Maybe that's his head. Is that his head or his crown hat? And do that into 32 teams and sell that thing. Don't you think before Christmas, families would pull that up? Seriously.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, I it, and it's under Rick Horrow and his inconvenient, incompetent host hashtag. And so you guys can find it and get it. And there it is.
Before I let you go, one other baseball story that you wrote about. Yes.
Before you let me go, or I let you go, why, Angel? It's the worst combination of things. I remember people in my high school class, they would do the same thing. We beat the hell out of them after the bell. He would sit there and be quiet and then shake your head. I mean, I saw you shaking your head back and forth like, I can't believe you're saying something.
He's watching Eagle highlights. Trust me.
Okay. All right. Can you just talk? Can I just hear you say hi? Say hi, Rick.
Hi, Rick.
All right.
It's too cold in Tampa. It's cold. It's cold. It's cold in Southwest Florida today. You know,
you have a problem with your voice? How about Brady? Brady's voice. We've said this before, haven't we? That Brady's voice is hard to adjust to normally. But how about getting through that game on Sunday? That was like,
I understand. Yeah, I know what you're saying. But then there's the opposite. You know, a guy like Gus Johnson, and I do want to get to a baseball story before the end of this fantastic. Gus Johnson, I used to love a lot. But Rick, the opening play of the game, right up the middle, it's 2 yards. He does it like it's a Hail Mary now every single play. Gus, you're great. Tone it down a little bit. Every play is not a Hail Mary. It is very, very difficult to listen to him. He has changed so much since he's gotten bigger and grown. But my God, tone it down. The first quarter, please. It's not be all end all. He makes a 2-yard run sound like a Hail Mary. The best in the business to me is still Sean McDonough. He's the best.
Yeah. No. And by the way, Gus Johnson gets paid by the decibel.
All right. Update everybody on what is going on. The crucial stadium financial voices between the Tampa Bay Rays and also the Oakland A's. Which one's in better shape right now? If you had I want you to talk about both of them, but who's in a little bit better shape right now, in your opinion?
The A's are in better public shape because they have had the preliminary plans approved. The public sector, the county, and the state have agreed on the allocation. The Fisher Group, who owns the A's, have agreed to the general parameters of what the economics ought to look like. And if you want to go gamble in the Tropicana, you're about 6 months too late because now that's rubble. That's where the stadium's going to be. So that's moving. On the Tampa one, it's 7 steps up, 6.5 back. There are a lot of other that are going on, maybe let's say behind the scenes. But right now, the whole Pinellas County move still has a process going, but there are a lot of forces, let me just put it this way, that don't want to see the Rays leave Tampa Bay, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, the Rays may not want to leave Steinbrenner Stadium because it's a better facility than the Trop, and there's probably more stuff. There's probably more amenities there than there are at the Trop, which I think is an absolute dump.
Yeah, well, remember when you do your financial planning, the Coyotes in their small building only could make it work for a couple of years until people said we need a new arena, but you charge the hell out of it. If you remember Northwestern on its temporary facility as they're redoing their, so a lot of business plans that are saying because of circumstances we're going to play in a small building, we're going to increase the prices, but you got to have a larger building in the long-term backup because you can't go into year 2, year 3 in a small building without Plan B. Right, Angel?
That's right.
Angel?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, I'm still waiting for the Christmas invitation to the Harrow compound. Apparently, I didn't get the invite still in the mail.
I don't know if it'd be Christmas.
It'll be coming. Dude. Yeah. Say hi. Bite him. Yeah, it'll be. Checks it. Hey, Angel, checks in the mail, pal.
All right.
Hey, real quick though, serious situation. Joey Burrow. Tua says, he's hired you come to my house and try to break in, going to get shot. Do you have a security guard at your house? You live with the Mucky Mucks, the Williams sisters around you, a lot of other play. Honestly, has anybody ever tried to bust into one of your houses like that in their little complex there and all the other celebrities that you live around? Seriously.
One of my houses. Well, I have an alarm system. Everybody ought to have an alarm system. Insurance companies ought to demand an alarm system. That's a little bit different. The fact that everybody knew from the NFL weeks ago that the folks in each town are targeting the star players because they know where they are on Sunday afternoon, and then you got to figure out what to do about it. It's troubling because it continues. Usually there's kind of one incident around the country, and then it stops, but it's not stopping.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much, and we will talk. Any bold travel plans for you coming up?
Yeah, Wasabi and Pinstripe. I'm doing the Northeast Christmas week and trying to put a whole bunch of different things. Wasabi and Pinstripe are interesting because they're on the same day an hour apart. You can't get from Boston to New York and go to each of them an hour apart. And they're football stadiums back to back. That'll be an interesting day. It starts at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, BC's playing in New York.
Huh?
BC's playing in New York.
Yeah, that's a good game. I'm telling you, it's just stadium. And by the way, no two media that's listening, sometimes media go where the food is good. The press box at Yankee for that game is all outdoors. So if you think press box gives some cover, you're in trouble. Just look.
All right, Rick, we'll talk soon. Thank you so much for everything. The business of sports from the industry's best. That's right. That's what it says right there on his Twitter account, Horo Sports, who's outstanding. At Rick Horo. Check him out at horosports.com. Great insight by Rick, as always. Quick break, Angel. The Angel's back and beamed in. But Patrick Gilroy for 3. And he follows other sports, too. We'll talk to him as well. Coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show, Full Break Angel on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, Totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Situation 80 feet from the basket with the game over. I've never seen that. I think I saw it in college 30 years ago. Never seen it in the NBA. That is
All right, Steve Curry not a happy camper after he felt in the NBA Cup. By the way, the ratings are down 12% from last year in the NBA in general, but for those who care, he feels he was robbed. He was robbed the NBA Cup that like two people watched probably last night outside of the Golden State area as Golden State loses 91-90 to the Houston Rockets. Earlier, Atlanta, that always beats the Knicks 108-100. So the semifinals are set. For those of you keeping score at home, Atlanta taking on Milwaukee in one semifinal and OKC taking on Houston in the other. And there's your NBA talk for the Cup anyway. Patrick Gilroy is going to join me in just a couple of minutes here on the Pete Sheppard Show in hour number 3 here on the Coastal Sports Network. At the bottom of the hour, that's my dog, Luna, barking at, the Swiffer. So Patrick will join me soon, and then at the bottom of the hour, it'll be Joe Zagacki, the voice of the Miami Hurricanes and everything. He will join me as well, see what he has to say. I think he'll have some reaction to what Cam said on ESPN yesterday. Sir as hell sounded like he and everybody else is going to be playing. Said everybody's here. Quote, everybody's here. So we'll get Joe's reaction to that. Celtics take on the Pistons tonight at the Garden. Celtics 19-5 on the year. The Pistons are 10-15. Celtics beat them last week by 10. They're up by, 20 plus. But we'll get his thoughts on that and get his thoughts on Bill Belichick as well. In fact, Angel, while we're waiting for Patrick to come on, if we could, on right under, if you're going to have to refresh. Baba Wawa again, refresh right under on Get Up. This is the boys on Get Up, including Adam Schefter, talking about Bill Belichick heading to North Carolina.
I think we go back to last offseason in the National Football League, and we go back to Bill Belichick interviewing and being a finalist for the Atlanta Falcons head coaching job, and the Falcons deciding to go with Raheem Morris. The Washington Commanders had a phone call with Bill Belichick and ultimately decided to go with Dan Quinn. And I think Bill Belichick looks at the NFL and doesn't trust that the league is going to make the right decision. There is uncertainty about whether or not he would get a head coaching job at the NFL level at this time. And he, at his core, is a coach and wants to coach. He can be doing all the Manning casts he wants. He can be doing all the Pat McAfee shows he wants. The fact of the matter is he loves coaching. North Carolina offered certainty. And I don't think Bill Belichick goes into anything randomly without thought. He has it well thought out. He has it researched. He has a plan. He knows just how he will attack it and what he will bring to the university. And so when the school idea comes up, some people might not think it's a natural, but Bill Belichick always has been willing to go against the grain. He is a contrarian. When everybody's going one way, he's happy to go another. And at a time where we see a lot of college coaches trying to flee the game because it's become more like a business, we see Bill Belichick going the opposite way to the college game. He did not trust NFL people to do the right thing during this head coaching cycle. He knew that he could get this job. And so when there was a 5-year agreement being waved at him in a place where his father was an assistant coach in the 1950s, it became a natural. And one other thing that Hembo helped point out, his coaching idol was Paul Brown. Paul Brown won a national championship at Ohio State before going to professional football to win 7 championships. Bill Belichick is now doing a reverse Paul Brown. He won all those championships and is now going back to college to see what type of success he could have there.
Yeah, great stuff there a little while ago on Get Up. And my buddy Bill Burt from the Eagle Tribune tweeted out, Bill Belichick was obsessed about Don Shula's record. Wrong. Belichick was obsessed with winning a Super Bowl without Tom Brady. Wrong again. Belichick is 72, loving retirement, life as a media star, LOL. I think he liked it, but not more than coaching. Loves coaching. And I do want to play it once again. This is the platform that Bill Belichick laid out on the Pat McAfee show. It's the second one down, Angel. We played it earlier in the show on the 7 o'clock hour. For those who missed it, though, it bears repeating. This was before he officially accepted. But on Tuesday, Bill laid out, on Monday, Bill laid out exactly what the platform that he will have if he became a college coach.
Let me put this in capital letters. If.
Yeah.
I-F. If I was in a college program, the college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would get the players ready for their career after football, whether that was the end of their college career or at the end of their pro career. But it would be, geared toward, developing the player, time management, discipline, structure, and all that. That would be life skills, regardless of whether they're in the NFL or in somewhere in business. And I feel very confident that I have the contacts in the National Football League to pave the way for those players that would have the ability to have the opportunity to compete in the National Football League. Whether they're good enough or not, I don't know, but they would be ready for it. I don't have any doubt about that. So that would be the first comment that I would make, relative to the structure of the program. It would be an NFL program, but not at the NFL level.
Yeah, which is quite a benefit to have the guy that ran the dynasty.
No doubt.
In the middle of this entire thing. Bill, listening to you lay that out, I just thought of every NFL guy's son. Okay, everybody that's ever been in the NFL that has a son that's in there, like Bill Belichick's offering up a one-way trip to how we're doing life. Yeah, we can go. Any expatriate that has a kid, obviously, over all those years, I assume they're going to be like, hey, need you to give my boy a rat. That's going to be, that's a big part of like college, though. It used to be development,
Yes.
Now it's like a big difference. And if you find the right guys, you can build it. And if you got the resources, you can do it anywhere, especially at a P4 program.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think he is going to do very well. I think the people obsessed. I'm seeing a lot of mostly pros. The cons coming in, these anonymous people that have come in on ESPN and CBS Sports and Sports Source, some of these other sites. Where all the negative ones are from? The SEC. SEC people, anonymous SEC defensive coordinator, anonymous SEC this, anonymous SEC that. They are so somewhat scared now that Bill Belichick is entering the ACC because he might steal all the precious portal people away from some of the SEC. Not that can't happen already. We've already seen what Miami can do with Cam Ward. But if you think Bill Belichick is not going to be able to quote unquote recruit because he doesn't want to go have Frosted Flakes and Cheerios and Pop Tarts at some kid's house in New Mexico or California, whatever, you are going to be sadly mistaken. He don't have to do it. He has he's got a 30-person staff reportedly on hand, $20 million in nil money, and Mike Lombardi as a GM. Hang on, trying to get Patrick Gilbert. Let's see. Did he forget? Oh, okay. Okay, Patrick will not be joining us. Got a little personal situation that he's dealing with, which I completely understand. So no worries. So Patrick Gilbert will not be joining us. That's okay. We'll do more NFL stuff. But Angel, I mean, if you had a son who was ready to play D1, especially kind of you kind of know he's going to be in that top 5%. You need to be in the top 1% to make it to the NFL, but you know he's going to be really good. And you hear Bill Belichick say, this is going to be a pipeline to the NFL. Just those words right there and the way he addressed and how he's going to put out his platform. I mean, you got to be completely, if you're a parent, you're going, gee, that's where I want my kid to go. That's where I want my kid to go. He's got the best chance.
Oh, definitely. Are you kidding me? Because you got to figure, even if, let's just say you were just a borderline type player, that you were just teetering whether you can make it to the NFL or not, he goes in and he changes the dynamics of the way you play, how you handle yourself. Again, he talked about the nutrition. Who knows? Tom Brady might insert his nutrition plan as well. But I mean, for everything what Belichick, the years that he's done, for the people he's connected with, this is going to be, it's going to be huge for UNC, but if you're a kid and you're a parent, hell yes, I'm freaking knocking on UNC's door. Hey, by the way, here's the resume, here's his profile picture, here's what else do you need? Here's our bank account, whatever you need to possibly get their child over at UNC, because that program is going to end up changing dramatically.
There are certain coaches that in all sports that transcend this. You look at just college basketball, for example. Dean Smith, Coach K, just those two guys alone. Jim Calhoun, John Thompson, John Wooden, and lots of others that I'm probably forgetting. Those guys get you prepared to play in the NBA. You want to play in the NBA back in the day, you go to North Carolina or Duke, Georgetown, and a few other schools. You know what I'm saying? They know how to prepare their athletes. Now, a lot of those back then had to stay 4 years. But the one at Calipari, another one at Kentucky. I mean, if you want to be prepared for the NBA, you go play under Coach Cal. He's going to get you there if you're only going to stay a year or two, and he understands that. He was one of the first people to come on and say, "Hey, I know these guys are going to be one and done," and that's how you got to recruit. And now it's easier with nil money, or maybe not so easy, but it's still, you have nil money now. You can pay these guys, and they're going to be one and done. Like this kid, like we said today, AJ DeBansta. Who came out of Brockton, Mass, was Gatorade Player of the Year in Massachusetts, then went to play last couple of years prep school, not in New England, not in New Jersey, not in New York, goes out to California for his junior year, I believe, and then transfers to freaking Utah Prep his senior year, and then announces on ESPN 2 days ago that he's going to BYU. Then we found out Danny Ainge is involved. The Mormon Church is involved. I'm not making this up. He's going to get over $7 million. By his own words, he's one and done at BYU. So for $7 million in nil money, he gets to go to BYU, flash his talent. He's 6'9", probably going to be a 2 or a 3 in the NBA, because does play the point guard. Can't play point, but probably going to be a 2 or a 3. And there you have it. That's what college sports is now. It is nothing more than AAA. And I'm fine with it. A lot of people are upset about it. Look, this has been going on. It just hasn't been legal for years, decades. This has been going on. So I don't have any problem with it. I think Bill is going to do very, very well. And I think you are going to see a lot of kids in the transfer portal head on over there. I don't know if he's going to have to recruit all that much, to be honest with you. I think he's going to get a bunch of core players that are going to transfer immediately and go to him. If they're in an iffy situation, they don't think they're going to get the playing time. And if Bill believes in them, especially the ones that he believes he can transform them into a professional football player, man, he's going to be all over it. He is going to be all over it. So, All right. Let's get to some more NFL sound, and then we'll take another break. And then Joe Zagacki from the University of the Miami Hurricanes play-by-play voice, football, basketball, baseball, will join us as well at the bottom of the hour. All right. Patriots are at Arizona this week. Speaking of the Patriots, Gerard Mayo and what he expects.
What do you want to see your team do? Obviously win, but in order to get there, better than they've done of late.
I mean, it's all about winning. It's all about winning. And I hate to say that. I know you said besides win, but it's all about winning, and it's all about going out there playing complimentary football. And that's what we want to see. And that has been the goal. Early in the season, I said the same thing. Like, when we get to the end of the season, we got to make sure that we're playing our best football, and that's still the goal.
You made some personnel moves.
All right. Meanwhile, we do have a football game tonight. The Rams at San Francisco. Here's Brock Purdy on Deebo Samuel's social media post about lack of usage in the offense.
Said.
Deebo hasn't had production he's used to in the last month or so. And he said on social media yesterday he's not struggling. He's just not getting opportunities. As the quarterback, or captain, teammate, do you feel the need to talk to him, just make sure you know where his head's at?
I mean, Deebo and I talk all the time, and he's like one of my best friends on this team. Like, I absolutely love Deebo and what he's done for me and helping me out. We talk all the time. And, I think he's right. Like, he's doing great right now with what we ask of him in the offense, and he's not struggling or anything, man. It's just like I've said before about, like guys like Ricky, or last year with Ayuk for a little bit. Like, there's just moments, I guess, throughout seasons where, guys just don't get the ball, just depending on like scheme or like what the defensive scheme is, and, them taking guys away. So I want to get Deebo the ball every play if I could. I want to have him break all the records as best as possible. I want Deebo to do Deebo things, and we all do in this building. So that's just how the games have gone. But I love my guy, and I'm going to do everything I can to, get him the ball. So.
All right. So some dissension in the ranks over there, too, not just Philadelphia. Sean McVay talked about on the short week and taking on the 49ers.
I think, there's a familiarity, if that makes any sense. But I mean, it's a great challenge. They know us, we know them. There's some different things, we'll really dive into the prep pretty deeply after we finish up. And, some of the coaches have done a good job of getting ahead on some things. It's a little bit more challenging, just in terms of my rhythm and routine. But, I'll tell you what, you like the Thursday games after you get through it. It's a good grind all the way up to it. And, on a positive, guys establish some good momentum, some things that we can certainly learn from. And it's, these are the opportunities that you love in the NFL. And, I don't know if it makes it easier or worse, but there is a familiarity, and this is what's the next game on our schedule. So here we go.
All right. That'll be tonight. I'll be looking forward to that. Some other games, KC at Cleveland. Here's Kevin Stefanski on the quote-unquote luck surrounding the Chiefs.
I think, you make your own luck. They're a good football team. They've won close games. You win close games by putting yourself in position to go make a play here, make a play there that puts you over the top. I don't know that there's a game plan per se. That's obviously the goal of all these teams late in the game, and we've seen it in the Super Bowl. Even you do your best to score with no time left on the clock, and easier said than done oftentimes. So I think it goes back to how you win these football games in these final 2 minutes, and typically all three sides of the ball play a large part in that.
All right, Dallas at Carolina. I bring this up. This is not one of the great games of the day, but Xavier Legette told the St. Brown Brothers podcast, Angel, he loves to hunt and eat some interesting.
I have another question for you. We asked everybody, what's your hottest food take? So, like, is there something weird that you like to eat or something you don't like to eat that you can never eat that most people would eat? Like, what's something in the food industry that you have a weird opinion on?
Well, y'all probably seen that video when I tell them folks I eat coon, I eat raccoon.
You what?
I eat raccoon.
I didn't see that. I said, no, what do you mean raccoon? Like the raccoon?
Like a raccoon that you see in the trash can.
Where do you even eat that at? Where do you even get that?
I hunt it, I kill it, I skin them, cook them, eat them, all that.
So when's the last time you had a raccoon?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
So you went and got the Thanksgiving. You killed the raccoon, or you got you found?
Now my cousins, all my people them hunting and all that. So my cousins them they killed it. They called me like, yeah, we got that coon. We get that coon. Yeah,
that sounds crazy. We got that coon.
Yes. Wait, what does it taste like?
Chicken.
Tastes
Of
like
course.
chicken.
It's more common than you think, particularly in the South. And I don't know where he hunted in Carolina, but I know I've seen Gordon Ramsay go on one of his trips to the Bayou in Louisiana, and there is not raccoon per se, but these other big time rodents that cause so much damage that you get like $50 every time you hunt one down or something like that. And guys go do it for living. They're like these big beavers, but they're not beavers. They're just rodents, and they just wreck parts of the bayou. So there's people just, you eat them, it sounds disgusting, but after the way they kill them and they prep it and everything else, they get eaten. It happens. But yeah, there are roadkill, quote unquote, roadkill restaurants out there. Raccoon, squirrel. Look, rabbit is part of I've had rabbit before. My mom never cooked it, but I've had it. A lot of Italian restaurants in Italy will have it, and even in Boston, New York, they occasionally will have it. People eat venison, right? I've had venison. I've had buffalo. I've had squab. I've had squab, which is pigeon. And if you didn't know it and it's prepared right, you'd say it tastes like steak. A lot of times, it's very good if it's done properly. I mean, I don't go out hunting pigeons, but it happens. Angel, all right, let's do a quick local break here, just the local stuff, and then there are good spots, I should say, no PSAs. And when we come back, real quick, Joe Zagacki, voice of the Miami Hurricanes, going to join me next here on the Pete Sheppard Show on a Thursday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
For the best in college football and NFL talk, check out The Pete Sheppard Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
The team is just the reason why I'm in this position, and it's just exciting for myself because all the hard work is starting to pay off, and I'm just excited to get to New York and represent Miami the right way.
Look, the hard work has been paying off. Miami, though, unfortunately was left out of that 12-team bracket despite having only 2 losses. I know you know this already, but now you've had some time to really let it sink in. What did you make of the committee's decision to leave your team out?
It's crazy.
Cam Ward, Heisman Trophy finalist, coming up Saturday, quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes. They'll be playing in the Pop-Tarts Bowl coming up on December 28th at 3:30 against Iowa State. Joe Zagacki, Miami Hurricanes voice, longtime voice of the Miami Hurricanes, is going to be joining me in just a few minutes here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. In the meantime, always glad everybody's following me at PShep326 and following me and the network at Twitter X, on Facebook, SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and call or text the show 727-858-6650. Now, Angel, I have to tell you something. Are you going to beam in, or you'd have to be beamed out? Oh, I was going to mess you up with when Joe comes on. Then don't do it, as long as I can hear you. Actually, Joe's going to call by phone, right? Joe's going to call by phone. Remember? Okay. So I'm going to be bachelor boy until Monday afternoon. Peanut Gallery is heading north to go see the Nutcracker and some other stuff with her sisters and friends in Boston. And I, with the lovely Luna, my Scotty Terrier, shall be alone from noontime today until noontime on Monday. I'm not good by myself.
Oh, boy. Looks like it's a party. I'm heading down to Pete's.
No, I mean, yeah, you're more than welcome to come down. I may have some friends come over and watch the game with me on Sunday, but no, I mean, I can't leave her, so it's not like, I mean, if I do, it's only for a short period of time. Joey says, bachelor pad, Pete, breakfast for dinner every night. No, I like to cook. No, I won't be that way. I like a good breakfast.
Well, I'm trying to think, was it last year? When was the girl, or was that this year? When there was like girls' weekend and girls something?
Oh yeah, that was usually in April or May. Yeah, where all her sisters and cousins and nieces come over, and I get booted out.
Yep.
I have to go get a hotel.
Yeah, so this is different.
Yeah,
At least this time you're not staying in a hotel, you can stay there.
I was forced out, and now I'm abandoned. No, I'm not abandoned. No, she needs a break to get out of here. She looks forward to it, going up there. So Joey says, Angel and Pete's Weekend Experience Netflix docuseries coming soon. Yeah. Yep. No question about it.
You're going to step the lawn dart.
Anyway, so Joe is going to video in, but he can't. So he's going to be calling in at any time now at 727-858-6650. We'll get his thoughts on all things, what's going on with the Miami Hurricanes. And I know the Canes basketball team, which is calling their games as well. They've been struggling a little bit. Played Tennessee tough for a little while the other night, the number one team in the country up at Madison Square Garden in the Jimmy V and the ACC, SEC thing, challenge that's going on. But we'll see. We'll get Joe's thoughts on not only the football team, but the basketball team and all of college football. See, while we're waiting for Joe, speaking of college football, I'll play the audio from here. And just cut me off if he calls in because I can't see it, Angel. Just let me know right away, and we'll get to Joe Zagacki immediately. The other news is big news. Besides Belichick going to North Carolina, Red Sox get Garrett Crochet, an ace. They finally got it. It cost them catcher Kyle Teal, outfielder Braden Montgomery, infielder Chase Meadroth, and right-handed pitcher Wickelman Gonzalez. 4 for 1. I don't care. They got their ace. So this guy is exceptional. If he was on any type of a decent team yesterday, last year with the White Sox, he would have been a phenomenal pitcher. Do we have Joe?
Yes.
All right, there he is via telephone, but that's okay. The one and only Joe Zagacki, longtime voice of the Miami Hurricanes in every single sport, including JV kickball. Joe, good morning. Thanks for taking a few. Good and welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good, Pete. How are you guys? Everything well?
Everything's well. I just want to say before we get started, congratulations to you and Mrs. Kane's voice on the engagement of your beautiful daughter, Haley, right? A year from today. You posted it, so congratulations.
Oh, yeah. A year from today is going to be the big day. Going to walk down the aisle 1 year from today in Beaver Creek, Colorado. Hopefully it's the week in between a playoff championship and a playoff game. We'll see.
Would it be something if it was Miami versus North Carolina? We'll get into Bill Belichick coming to the ACC in North Carolina in a second. I was very encouraged, Joe, what I heard yesterday on ESPN. Cam Ward did about a 4-minute and 12-second interview because I played it twice already today, that he's going to be playing. He says, everybody's here. We're all going to, seems to me, they're all going to be going at it on the 28th in Orlando against Iowa State. That is refreshing to me. Are you hearing the same thing?
Well, only I heard the same soundbite you heard, so I hope it's true. I hope it holds up. Iowa State's going to be a very formidable opponent. They've won 10 games, so both programs trying to get to 11. I think that's an important number for the University of Miami. I think it'd be great. It'd be a great example to future Miami Hurricanes if Cam Ward and the rest of those guys play to set a bar, to set a standard, and that's what Cam Ward came here to do. He set a standard, and I hope he finishes what he starts. I think I still think somehow they're probably worthy of being a playoff team, but they let that get away from them. And I'd like to see this offense one more time. It's the most prolific offense in the history of the University of Miami. So I hope he goes out there one more time.
The other thing, too, Joe, is that I really wish they had put Miami up against Alabama, assuming Alabama would have most of their players stick around, play at Ray J. That would have been awesome. It would have been like almost like a play-in game. I think it's what the country, again, would have wanted to see. All right, Michigan's a nice draw for Alabama at Ray J, and Miami getting Iowa State. That's nice and everything, but I was hoping, because I figured, I assumed it was going to be Alabama, Miami once SMU won the last two out. I was hoping that somehow, some way they would be put together in a bowl game, but I guess not. But that would have been awesome, don't you think?
It would have been great because of would have been able to prove a point, and certainly I think Miami would have had their entire team for sure if they had an opportunity to play Alabama. But the bowls aren't set up like that. They're not set up to make those kind of adjustments, which they should. It would have been great for television. People would definitely tune into that as opposed to Alabama and Michigan and Iowa State. Very good program, very good football team, but doesn't have the same national appeal. A Miami Alabama bowl game would have been tremendous. Of course, Alabama being ranked that high still, I think, is a slap in the face to everybody. I'm kind of tired of hearing about how Alabama played such a tough schedule and how their athletic director came out and said, in the future, maybe we won't play these tough non-conference games. To which I said, which one was your tough non-conference game, Mercer or South Florida or Wisconsin or Western Kentucky? If you're not going to play those four games, well, gee, I don't know. That's awfully seemed like a heavy lift for Alabama. Their problem was losing to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma.
Yeah, humiliated against Oklahoma, by the way. 3-touchdown favorite. They don't even score a touchdown. I have a lot of respect for all the conferences. I'm a huge college football fan. Obviously, I'm a huge Miami fan from when I was a kid. I respect all conferences. I have had it with this SEC snot-raggish attitude. I cannot stand it anymore, from Feinbaum all the way down. And, the same 15 callers that call his show every day are entertaining, and I enjoy his show. I watch it. I watch the ACC network as well. But this... Where has this snottyism for this year come from? Why can't people in the SEC realize that the gap has closed dramatically because of NIL and because of the transfer portal? And I'm wondering, Joe, if you felt the same way, if the narrative for some of these a-holes, SEC snot rags would have changed had Georgia Tech beaten Georgia in 8 overtime and that 8 overtime loss. I wonder if the narrative would have changed. It gets dismissed. Miami clobbering Florida week 1 gets dismissed, but Georgia clobbering Clemson in week 1, that's still okay, as if that would be the same if they played right now. I can't stand it.
Well, the SEC is a machine. Some of this they brought on themselves because of the expansion. I don't know what they expected to happen. If you're going to expand the way they did, you're going to have 3 lost teams. So all these guys politicking to get into the playoff. I was at the point of saying, well, how about this? You guys just have your 12-team playoff. Just replay your season in a playoff. It doesn't appear that you want anybody else involved. They feel like they are the dominant force in all of college athletics, that they have the most money, that they have the most viewers and the most passion. The funny thing about the SEC is most of those teams are located in, small college towns. They're not in big cities for the most part, but they have attitude and they're not going to back off their attitude. That being said, Pete, the ACC doesn't do much to help themselves. They always seem to shoot themselves in the foot. They don't seem to help Miami out or Florida State, and don't take care of their top teams. They seem to be content with trying to promote Duke and Wake Forest, and I always felt like they brought Miami in, and maybe Florida State felt this way as well, to raise up the lower part of their conference at the expense of teams like Miami and Florida State. And then I thought it was pretty embarrassing last week in the championship game that I've never seen this. Clemson played that game and didn't have any penalties. So the ACC, the only way they're going to get two teams in the playoff is if Clemson wins the game, and Clemson plays in their backyard, and for the second time in since 1952 has no penalties in a game. If I was Rhett Lashley, well, you saw what Rhett Lashley's reaction was. In addition, the sidebar to that is that same officiating crew threw 9 flags on Miami the week before at Syracuse.
Yep. Yeah, and that horrible call, the running play up the middle that was called just on Damon was just awful. That's just we could go back and forth. I look at this current. I just look at the people in the SEC, or a lot of people, they refuse to admit that teams like Miami, SMU, Clemson, I'm going to put Louisville and Duke in there too, obviously Georgia Tech. But let's just even forget Georgia Tech, that SMU, Clemson, Miami, and Louisville. Do you really think that some of these SEC schools would run roughshod over them? I don't. I think a lot of them would lose to them. It's in the Big Ten too. Oh, yeah. Who in this playoff bracket do you think Indiana could beat? Anybody? I think they'd lose to every single one of those teams. Single one.
Louisville's a very good team. Miami didn't get enough credit for their win over Louisville. Brahms a very good coach, had a very good quarterback, outstanding running back. They're a good squad, and I get a little annoyed also when they ultimately they say, okay, this team won X amount of games against top 25 teams, and the top 25 becomes at the end of the year. But I always think you're supposed to get some credit for how that team is playing when you played them. And when Miami played Louisville, they were top 25. I just think sometimes when Miami played Georgia Tech was coming off a bye week, playing pretty good football. If Miami had played Georgia Tech earlier, right when the quarterback got hurt, it's probably a different Georgia Tech team. I think what should be evaluated is how is the team playing how are the teams playing at the time they play each other.
No, I completely agree, 100%. Before we get to Bill Belichick coming into the ACC, I still, and it's still hard to listen to Ward Manuel and him justify Indiana. I mean, I don't get it. I don't. I mean, it's a good story. Spaghetti. I like him as a coach. They appear to be headed in the right direction. I still cannot believe a team that I don't think would beat any one of those schools from 1 to 12 in this college playoff is sitting there at 10. And you cannot tell me that the country would not have wanted to see Miami at Notre Dame, which I thought a few weeks ago that was going to be the case. And that would have been unbelievable. Now we have to wait till next year at Hard Rock, opening game for that. But I don't know. Final thoughts on that before we get to Bill Belichick.
Well, every time Ward Manuel speaks, I feel dumber. So I would agree with you. And I think you probably, if you were to stack Miami up with some of those other teams like Indiana, Miami would probably be a better choice than Indiana. I also think that in the offseason, they're going to make some adjustments to how they play this thing out, the playoff, because it became too confusing for the public. Seeding and rankings. It's just, I think they're going to have, and ultimately it should just be the same. And they probably should seed it 1 through 12 rather than having a ranking and a seeding. It's too complicated for the public. And I consider myself a pretty good college football aficionado, but it requires a lot of explaining to the average fan.
No question. Either they rank them 1 to 12, and then if you want to reseed after that or something, I don't know. I guess so. I would just stay with the 1 through 12. And I knew it wasn't going to be a perfect system. It's not in the NCAA basketball tournament, and it wasn't going to be here. But I'm still happy they have it. It's going to expand to 14 or 16 sooner rather than later. So we shall see. My only other gripe is I would have loved to see, congrats to Boise State. I get it. But I think it stinks. I would have loved to have seen them. It's going to be either SMU or Penn State, but it's at the Fiesta Bowl, not on the Smurf turf. And that's too bad that they could not get a game against one of these SEC or Big Ten powerhouses on their home stadium on the Smurf turf. I think that would have been more interesting than the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I think they also probably pay. I hate to say it, but the group of 6 schools, they get an awful lot of attention. They made enough noise over the last couple of years to make sure they got a seat at the table, and probably been overanalyzed. What were the rankings? Army ranked in front of Duke at the end of the year. That's kind of ridiculous. So
yeah,
I just think ultimately I wish there was a way for them to sort it out. So it was just, if they want to make it like the NFL, make it like the NFL. Come up with a system where you have champions and wild cards, and that's your playoff, and take all the voting out of it.
I totally agree. All right, let's move on to the shocker of the week. Look, when I was at WEI in Boston, I had a weekly show myself, Glenn Ordway, Steve Diassi, Fred Smirlis, with Bill Belichick. The only time, Joe, that he ever talked about not coaching in the NFL was coaching high school lacrosse or maybe college lacrosse. That's it. He's a huge lacrosse guy. Never in a million years did I think he would give up coaching. If he was going to come back and coach, would it be in college? And to come to North Carolina, I think is absolutely amazing. The platform that he laid out on McAfee's show the other day, he never would have done this, this 10 years ago, but with NIL and with the transfer portal. And he said, this is going to be a pipeline to the NFL. This is going to be very, very interesting. I think it's good for the ACC. I kind of wish he wasn't going to be competing with Miami for some of these kids, but your overall thoughts about Bill Belichick, Chapel Bill, as they're now saying now in North Carolina. How do you think this is all going to play out?
Well, I'm probably out on an island by myself. One, I think the reason he's getting iced out of the NFL is I think there's a certain segment of the NFL that does not want him to pass Don Shula. I don't think they want their all-time winningest coach to be a guy that carries as much baggage as Bill Belichick. So I'm not sure he's ever going to get a chance back. Situation he laid out on the McAfee show, the platform he laid out was very impressive. But, it's one thing to lay it out, and it's another thing he's going to have to deal with street agents. You have to deal with families. You have to deal with parents calling him to say, how come my son isn't playing? And the other thing is, guys in the NFL, that's their livelihood. They're students of the game. High school players, college players, for the majority, I think they're not students of the game. It's something that they play, not something that they study.
And I agree with a lot.
Belichick.
I agree with a lot of what you said, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. Here's what I think is going to happen. As far as him bouncing around, That's not going to happen. And he doesn't have to in this day and age. I'll tell you why. First of all, my understanding is he's going to have 30 staffers. He's got $20 million in nil money. He's got Mike Lombardi there to be the GM, his former assistant with the Patriots. And those, he's going to have people to handle all that stuff. And when the right players come along that he wants, he's going to be